What is going on, YouTube community? Chris with Jerno's Comics and Pop Culture. Thank you all for being here today. Um, Guys, this is my B-Day Bash celebration live stream. And I have a packed house today. We have a lot of awesome special guests. I will say, and we'll be addressing this, but um, with the news that came last night, I will say that my spirit and my energy is not what I wanted it to be today. But we're gonna come together. We're gonna push through this. Thank you all for joining me, and to those that are already here, Isaac and Kid Collector, Newbie in the house. Y'all will be seeing Newbie shortly here. We have multiple guests. I'm going to be bringing on each guest. Um, on their own time within their own segment. So you'll get to know and learn about each of our guests. They'll be spending about 20 minutes with us each. So I'm definitely looking forward to talking with each and every one of you. Steve, Bradley, what is going on? Thank you so much. So, guys, my birthday was 2 weeks ago, but the weekend that I planned my birthday bash, I said, you know what? There's some more important stuff that I need to do, and that's why I did that. I did a fundraiser for the Molina family, which was a comic book collecting family that lost everything when their home burned down in a fire. So I thought that was very much more important. So I pushed it back, and here we are today. Double S, what is going on? Discovery Bay, thank you. So again, thank you all for being here. We have a wide variety of guests. You know, it's not just content YouTube creators or whatnot, but everyone that's coming on today has some type of love or involvement in the hobby that we all love. So that is a very good thing. We'll just hang out for a couple more minutes here while we get some more viewers on. I just want to let everyone know as well, everyone that is appearing tonight and that is going to be a guest, all their information is below in the description. You can find website links. You can find their YouTube links to subscribe. You can find their Instagrams and so forth. So I really hope that each and every one of you take the time to go do that. You guys could go take the time to do that now while we're waiting to get started here. Kid Collector. Oh, thank you, Kid Collector. Appreciate it. Tell moms thank you too. Much appreciated. That is so awesome, man. Look, man, a lot of emotions right now, I think, with all of us guys. And what's really funny, and not to get too soft with you guys, I probably should have brought some tissue out here. But, you know, I was just sitting backstage waiting to go live, and I saw some of your guys' comments already, and I just kind of got emotional. And I know that may sound like strange, but I just it makes me appreciate what I'm able to do. You know, this is a lot of work that goes into my channel. I've literally put a lot of hard work and sweat into it. I, as a businessman, look at this channel as a business to one element. You know, I will never lie about that. But most importantly, it really is a community and a family. And, you know, I know that may sound cliche, but I really mean that, you know, and I've been through a lot over these last, 6 to 8 months and since COVID. And putting my energy and heart into this just shows me how much all of you put your heart into being here. And I really appreciate you all and thank you all so much. So I had to get that out there. Isaac, have I read 3 Jokers yet? No. You want to know why? Because I got them through a previews order and they just shipped because, you know, they were delayed. So they're still in the mail. I should have them hopefully next week sometime. I got 1 copy for myself and 1 for my son. So we will be reading those next week, hopefully. So, yeah. Discovery Bay, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate that. Like I said, we have my co-host Jeff from Comic Book Canon in the house today. We have Newbie Comics, a fellow content creator on YouTube. We have Grandway Comics, an independent publishing company I got their books right up here, I believe. Still, I'm going to show these guys off. I thought I had them up here. I thought I had everything ready for my show. I want to have them to be able to show off. Oh, look at that! What did I do with them? I bagged and boarded them and got them all nice and clean and ready. And yeah. Oh well, it's okay. It's okay because we're still going to be talking with the creators of Grandway Comics and letting you guys know all about them. And then we have a B level. So for all you Star Wars fans, B level is a Star Wars walking encyclopedia. We're going to talk a little Star Wars action. Lots of awesome things today. Mega Row, thank you. I appreciate it so much. How's my Infinity Watch run? It's pretty solid. Only a few more to go. That's for sure. Let's wait about one more minute, and then we'll get into bringing in our first guest, Joker or M21. What is going on? Ah, man. Aaron Turner, what's going on? We'll give it about 45 more seconds. Let you all get settled. Hope you got some popcorn and chilling. I hope you guys are comfortable and relaxed. For me, again, it's hot and sweating in here because it's just been super summertime. My son has been bugging me about going to a beach. So we might make that happen sometime soon. Did somebody say Star Wars? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Shall we get started? I was going to open some comic books real quick with you guys today, but to be quite honest, I don't have the energy right now to do it with everything that has transpired over the last 24 hours. So, but we'll just get right in to bringing on our first guest. So a lot of you may know him from comic book canon fame. Let's bring in comic book canon co-host Jeff. What is going on, Jeff?
How are you on this Saturday? Kind of a weird Saturday, to be honest.
Ain't that right, man?
I'm just throwing this out there. My daughter is here, and she likes to jump into these meetings.
Another very special guest,
Ava. This is Herbie from Fantastic Four fame.
Oh, that's awesome.
She'll be jumping in here, and so it's quite interesting too. She wanted to bring her Black Panther doll, and I was like, let's not do that right now. So.
Yeah, well, Ava, we are so happy to have her as a special guest today. Thank you for joining us.
Say thank you for having me. All right, we'll get into it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries. I love it. All right, so, man, well, we were going to approach this a little differently, and kind of keep it lighthearted, talk about comic book canon. But I will say, we were live last night on our, Friday night comic book canon show. We had an awesome special guest on, Tom, with Cosmic Comic History. Mm-hmm. And we got the news in the middle of our live show that Chadwick Boseman had passed. And man, I'll tell you, it was just, I think I went back and watched it on the replay, and I saw like even my face like right, and I could just tell looking at our faces like when it hit. And so man, I know for me, I'm still thinking back on that moment, and it's like it's all a blur, and it just makes no sense to me still.
Yeah, I wanted to do that too, just to see, because I remember specifically as B. Schnur saying, "Hey, my wife had just told me that he passed," and I'm like, "What?
Papa,
come on." Okay. I was like, she's eating shrimp. Sorry, guys, but I was like, that's ridiculous. Dude's 43 years old. And I was just like, no way. And then I didn't even want to acknowledge it because I was like, that makes no sense. There's no way this is true. And but then as you went on your phone, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I didn't even know what to say, how to say it. I didn't know what, I mean, but it's one of those things. And Tom, I think he said after the show or during the show, he's like, I will always remember where I was when I heard this. And that's, for me, that is absolutely the same kind of thing. And yeah, Kid Collector said the whole mood dropped. And yeah, I mean, you can't say it better than that. It was just like, it was a gut punch. Like, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Obviously, I'm out here. You don't see my name. I don't know what side you guys see it on. For me, it's over here. Maybe it's over here for you guys. But I'm not even putting my name up here today because for me, it's bigger than my name right now. And you know, I think I talked a little bit about this in our live stream, and I've obviously have addressed my feelings on my social media platforms and here on YouTube. You know, a lot of folks came. I went, and the funny, when we were trying to wrap up the show, the thoughts in my mind were, I gotta go be with my kids. You know, and I didn't know if they had heard or what, and they didn't. And when I finally got in there and I told them, like, you know, my oldest kind of doesn't express emotion real well. I won't really get into all that, but my son, my little guy, just started freaking bawling, man. And his words were like, I can't handle this, you know, like he was having a whole on like anxiety attack. And it just shows, man. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I am not one to over glorify and, oh, you know, just because it's a celebrity that passes. Anybody that passes, especially young, it's horrific. We can have empathy. But, you know, I do feel we live in a culture where we kind of cling to putting such value just because somebody's famous. But that's, you know, this is way beyond that. This was a man, a human being that you know, he wasn't an actor. It was he was somebody that was truly a pillar of change in this world for humanity. And you know, I think we as adults see that and how he's influenced us through his platform, and obviously this younger generation. And I know my kids felt that way as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna explain it to her right now. I don't feel like I need to, but there were some weird things leading up. Like literally, we were in the store the other day, and I was like, "You get one toy," and she's like, "Okay, I want Black Panther." She has a Black Panther costume, full-on costume, and like, you know, he is not Black Panther, but the impact that he's had through that film, through Jackie Robinson, right, through the Thurgood Marshall film, through the James Brown film, it's like he is just like, he's left an impression on top of the fact of all the good work he did with, I think the Boys and Girls Club and things like that. It was just, I don't know, man. It just kind of hits you, you know, it just hit you. Like it hit me like Prince did. It hit me like Five Dog did. It hit me like, you know what I mean? Like, and he didn't have an impact on my life like those people did in terms of like longevity, but like,
right.
It was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And again, to be able to hear it on the show last night and be able to share the news and be with people with like-mindedness, it was good. But, you know, like, you know, for me, my mind resets when I go to bed, and waking up this morning was like another gut punch. So
yeah, absolutely. I felt very similar. I had trouble sleeping last night, which I always do, but a little worse. And then I just kept thinking about today and coming on here, and it's like, how do we do this show? You know? And you know, when I went and I after I consoled my kids, and that was a big, you know, what's crazy. We just watched what was it called? Welcome something the King, a film that he did a few years back, where it was kind of like a John Wick style, where he was out for revenge because somebody murdered his sister, and he was played a South African. But I really, even in that film, it really spoke to like classism for Black people worldwide, but not even just for race, just the class of the poverty structure. And it brought the reality of what he was trying to come up out of, in the poverty of in the polarizing racial division of South Africa to coming to America. Like his sister came to America to try to escape that poverty, and then ended up getting into the traps of poverty here with the drugs and gangs and prostitution and things like that. And not to give away the ending of the movie, but at the end of the movie, I'll just say this: he was back in South Africa, and like without any words, like that final scene just spoke. Because and usually in movies you get this happy ending, like Equalizer, like he goes and kicks ass and then like saves the girl, or like John. Like this didn't have a happy ending, and the end of the movie was like, yep, trapped in this cycle. And I just watched that with my kids literally last week, and again, it's just like I feel like everything that he did had such empowering this empowering spiritual energy and message, that goes beyond whether it's nonfiction or fictional, whether it's Jackie or Thurgood or T'Challa, this fictional character. Like I just felt like he embodied that. He carried it out of his film work and into his real life. And man, just another one too young that was like, and this was the irony that I was going to bring up the Tupac quote. I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee you I will spark the brain that will change the world. I was sitting there about to say that to with you and our guest Tom last night on Comic Book Canon, and as I was getting ready to deliver that quote, we got the news. And it was just so like surreal, because I feel like here we are again in another situation where if we don't recognize these true to life or bigger than life individuals that lose their lives so young, and we don't realize that they were there trying to spark the brain to make that change in the world, ultimately I feel like it's in vain. Like we have to be able to better ourselves to look at them and say we cannot let them die in vain. We have to do better.
Yeah, especially somebody who's tied to such an iconic, again, he had many iconic roles, but like Black Panther was something for us as comic book, as people who love comic books and the hobby and everything like that. Black Panther meant so much to so many and was such an impactful character that like for him to be tied to that character, it's just like a huge loss for, I don't know. It's just a huge loss. Like, and yeah.
Definitely. Indeed. Yeah. And I just, like I said, I mean, I appreciate everyone here today joining us on what should be a joyous occasion. And I know we're kind of still talking about this because I think it's heavy and it's on a lot of people's minds still. So I hope that we all can find some kind of, community connection through this, and I've seen, as much as I've seen a lot of negative pushback already, which is just disgusting. I won't even get into that. But I think ultimately, and I always say this, the ignorant ones or the ugly ones are the minority, but they tend to be the loudest ones in the room. And I want to appreciate all my viewers right now, because I know all of you guys are the majority. And I know that we all can sit here today and appreciate what this man did in his life. And to know that he brought these characters to life while basically dying. He was dying of cancer and decided not to be the victim and said, I need to use my platform in a way to where I can inspire the world. And I hope that that's what we can kind of take out of this today. Like I said, there's been a lot of negative things, but I just want to focus on the good. And like I said, I appreciate all of you guys and us all trying to stay positive through something like this for sure.
Yep, it's again, it's something that it's just you just can't get. I don't know. It's just you can't get used to it. Somebody who's so vibrant, so young, who poured his heart into everything that you saw on screen, and just to hear out of nowhere that this happened, it just didn't make sense. Every human life is special. Every human life means something. But this kind of person, people leave impacts on your life, right? and he, you didn't know him personally, but there was an impact left, and all the work that he did, and it's tough. Like, so again, especially means more again because he was, for us as comic book collectors, we associated him with this iconic character in Black Panther that meant so much, especially at the times when he was introduced into Marvel. It meant a lot. Like, so representation and being able to just nail that movie, right, and just blow it out the water. Like, it meant a lot to a lot of people who have been waiting so long to have representation on screen.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I think that's a great way to kind of segue. We're gonna talk about some other things here, but before we do so, just coming off of that statement, I'm gonna go ahead and put something on screen. I'm gonna share. It is my message, and as representation of Jerno's comics and pop culture. And I hope that I could speak for a lot of others in the community, including yourself, Jeff. I'm going to pull something up on screen. I'm going to read the statement that I made to Chadwick Boseman and his family. And then I ask that I'll leave that up there. And I ask that we all sit for a moment of silence for Chadwick Boseman. So maybe just bring this up real quick. So the message is, Chadwick, thank you for embodying a character that allowed millions of little Black boys and girls to look up to you and say, that's me. To give them the dream and aspirations to be kings and queens. And even though it began as a fictional place, Wakanda will always be a real place that will forever exist in our hearts. We love you and thank you for, as you were sick and battling this deadly disease, you still wore your crown and took your throne eternally as our king, as our Black Panther. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. So prayers to all those impacted, Chadwick's family. And in his spirit, let's keep pushing forward today. Let's get into some more awesome stuff to talk about. Let's try to have fun with this. And I just want to say lastly, let's just keep doing better to be better human beings. I know we all have the ability to do so. So, all right. With that being said, Jeff, you want to let's talk a little about what we can look forward to, maybe with some comic book canon news.
Oh man, comic book canon news. We're going to be chugging along with the show. Hopefully, we're going to get some news to be talking about together and speculating and talking about the comic books and how they relate into everything that we have. I mean, we haven't heard from Marvel in the longest time, and it feels like forever. We're dying to see a Mandalorian trailer. DC fandom definitely quenched our thirst a little bit in what they delivered. Very happy about that. Pumped about Black Adam. I really didn't care before that whole event. That character was familiar with him, but I'm psyched about that. So Zack Snyder's Justice League. So we'll be covering all that good stuff. As we do, and we're gonna have new segments, and we're gonna be bringing in more outside faces that'll participate in the show. With our variety of new segments, props or slops, all in comic books that some of our other YouTubers are talking about, and kind of all in on, whether you be flipping the books, whether you be kind of like holding on to it, just hoping it skyrockets so you could trade it in for a bigger book, or just something that you really hope that kind of something you could proudly display on your mantle. So again, we're keeping chugging along. Chris and I, we love doing the show. We have a good time talking to you guys, and we really feel kind of like honored and blessed to be able to just have fun with you guys on a Friday night and talk about comic books. So it's, again, last night was surreal, but it was nice being around like-minded friends. So.
Right, for sure. And you gave some description for All In. And I want to say too, if any of you guys watching might want to be a guest on Comic Book Canon Show for one of these segments, hey, let us know. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on what. Well, I got my email out there, but you can find me on Instagram or my email. I'll get in touch with you. You can hit up Jeff or the Comic Book Canon Instagram as well. We'd like to have you if you don't mind showing your face on on a live stream and having some fun. And you gave some context to the All In, but can you give a little more context to Props or Slops?
All right, Props or Slops. Here we go. This is fun. You have 5 minutes. No, I'm sorry. It's 3 minutes now, Chris, right? We decided 3 minutes.
Yes.
You have 3 minutes to just go like either giving complete praise to something that happened, recently in the comic book world, or just completely dog a topic, something you're passionate about, right? Something either you're excited about or something you're just infuriated about. So that's what Props or Slops is. You either give 3 minutes of props or 3 minutes of slops. So again, we had fun. We had what did we have last time?
So last time we did All In with Jay the Butcher.
All In was Jay the Butcher from Pressable Defects. Those guys are awesome, and he really knowledgeable. And then Props or Slops, why can I not? Oh, Chris Killian from comicbook.com. That's right. He was on the hype train for the Suicide Squad game. Oh my gosh, he was so excited. We could not contain him. So again, we'll have another guest for next week's show. Looking forward to seeing if they're going Props or Slops. I don't want to say who it is just yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Slops, and they're going to completely just trash a specific topic, and it'll absolutely be entertaining, no doubt.
Let me ask you: do you have both? Do you have a Props and a Slops you can give us right now?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot, Chris. I'll tell you my props. I read Maestro #1 this past week. I thought it was outstanding. I absolutely loved that. Right. Slops is tough because there's a few things that are on my mind, and I don't know if we have enough time on your birthday show to go over that.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll leave it at that. But it's more for a guest speaker to come in and talk about it, and then maybe maybe Chris and I can tag along for certain things that we're that week.
Well,
so, yeah.
I like this comment from Steve. He says, if you guys were on a desert island, what 2 comics would you choose?
Okay. I'm going to go.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go Amazing Spider-Man #96, which is the first of a 3-part story where it was about drugs. I think it was in the 70s. And Stan Lee, the government asked him to do a story on drugs. And Stanley's like, yeah, sure. However, I don't know if y'all remember the Comics Code. It was a little stamp that had to be approved by the Comics Code. No talk about drugs. It wasn't allowed. Stanley made the decision to be like, you know what, we're moving forward with the story. And it was one of the first comic books in decades that did not have the Comics Code Authority stamp on it. So I would bring that. That means a lot in terms of comic book history. And the second one, I'm looking at my wall right now. It would have to be... Oh, God, I don't want to be I don't want to be that Spider-Man fanboy, but that's who I am. So it's going to be Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I hear you,
I'm
man.
not apologizing. I'm not apologizing.
No, yeah.
That's what it is.
You.
That's what it is.
Yep, exactly. What's really interesting is my picks, when I think about overall what my picks would be as a Spider-Man fan, it would probably be, it'd have to be like, I'm thinking of what's in my collection. Yes.
I know what one of yours is. I just want to put that out there. I know what one of yours is. So go ahead. I just want to throw that out there.
Right. I mean, if it was one that I didn't own, I mean, how many of us would say something like Amazing Fantasy 15 or
in a 9.8?
I mean, right. But for stuff that I own, Amazing Spider-Man 129. But then the other one would be the first comic book I ever owned. which was the I believe it was the Random House soft cover 3-book collection of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures Archie miniseries. Because it means so much to me. You know, it's not about value. It's the same book that I had since like 1987, and it's a wrinkled mess. I like did the crossword puzzles in it and all that stuff, and I don't care. But honestly, I have another way to answer this, and it's because of everything going on right now. And I just think about if I had to grab 2 books, I would probably grab that Ninja Turtle book and this one right here, because right now, I'm sorry, this book is just, it means so much to me right now with everything that's going on.
Lower it.
Yeah. So that's kind of my take there.
That is a good call, man. That is an absolutely good call. By the way, Isaac Maynard said he's going to take his Amazing Fantasy 15. Of course you would. Absolutely. And you're rubbing it on all our faces. And Isaac, he also asked if I'm going to start collecting Golden Age. The earliest I go is Silver, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up a Golden Age here or there that piques my interest, and maybe you should suggest some that you think I would be interested in.
You know, another way to ask that question too would be, what stories would you bring? You know, what if you were stranded on an island and you had like 2 story arcs to bring? I think that would be another cool way, because I think that kind of changes it. Yeah. Like for me with Spider-Man, it would probably be like the death of Gwen Stacy storyline. So that's another interesting take, right, Steve?
I would go Kraven's Last Hunt.
Indeed. Well, Jeff, I don't want to keep you too much longer. Let's just a couple more things to just point out real quick. So one, again, as you guys see down here, Comic Book Canon Live every Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And again, if you guys want to be featured on the show for one of our guest segments, please reach out to us. You know, the Comic Book Canon show and channel is still we're still babies over there. It's still new. You know, we're maybe we're in the toddler phase right now, and I'm loving this robot.
Herbie, guys, Herbie from the Fantastic Four cartoon. She loves it.
The bobbly head, yes.
Funko Pop.
So yeah, and like Jeff said, I think we're gonna have some awesome guests on for this month. So we're starting to get booked up. So yeah, reach out to us. And Jeff, is there any other things that you want to say to the community before you head out?
Yeah.
Ava wants to mention that she has superhero stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome.
She has a bunch of Amazon stuff coming for packages. She's really excited.
And what we were talking about this before the show. What is Ava's really super awesome favorite things that she wants all over her room right now?
Well, she wants rainbows and unicorns, like pictures all over her room. But she's also really pushing for me to buy her a Loki action figure or doll. And a Green Goblin doll, and she wants who was the other one? Loki, Green Goblin, and Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
She's the Dr. Doom Funko. She loves it, but she kind of gravitates towards the villains.
I love it.
And
is she a Kylo Ren fan?
No, Darth Vader. She's a Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, yes.
She's got the costumes and everything. So
yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ava, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thanks for having me. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me, though. Happy birthday again. This guy's one of the best people out there, guys, to listen on YouTube. So he's absolutely genuine, sweet, and he really means what he says in terms of like, just be a good person. And you set the example, man. So happy birthday. Really mean that.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, guys. See y'all later.
Can I tell you something?
Bye.
You want
to say something?
The ice cream truck singing "Happy Birthday."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. We just heard that. So, anyways, all right.
Perfect ending.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
So cool, guys. Yeah. Once again, if you haven't checked out the Comic Book Canon channel, guys, go give us a subscribe. Yeah, links are below. Check us out on Instagram every Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So happy that Jeff and Ava could stop by today. Super awesome to have them in here. And again, guys, so we're just getting started. Let me this off here. We are just getting started. So we got a nice packed house here. Let me just go through some comments, see if I missed anything. I'm trying to get to all your guys' comments. Bishner was talking about Killing Joke. I'm assuming that was in regards to bringing what you would bring to that deserted island. Kid Collector is a fan of Doctor Doom. Absolutely. All right, guys. All right, so shall we bring in our next guest? I'm really happy to announce this next guest. This is a fellow YouTube creator and just comic book enthusiast. And you know that I rep for my Canadians, even though I'm not Canadian. I'm from the other CA. I'm from Cali, but all about that Canadian love. Absolutely. And right now we are going to get to know Newbie Comics. Let's welcome him to the show. What is up, Newbie?
What's up, brother? Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for, taking the time. I know we've been kind of talking. You were like, hey, I want you to come on my channel and do something. And it's just,
yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, with this COVID stuff and work being all over, I mean, I think the time difference is a big one too, right? I mean, we're 3 hours apart, but you're always messaging, we're always chatting, things like that. So hopefully in the short term future, we get something going, man, because I'm always tuning in. Like I'm usually working on Fridays. And I know Jeff's asked me to be on the Canon show, and I was just like, man, I'm like working 12 to 10, so but I'm always supporting, I'm always watching. It's a fun show.
Yeah, I will say, this goes for other viewers out there. If you want to be a guest in some of these segments, we can always do a pre-recorded segment and have that be featured on Friday night. So it's definitely something to think about, something to talk about. So.
Definitely.
But yeah, man. Again, thanks for being here. How you doing, man? I know, again, with not to get too much into it again, but I just want to, do a check with everyone. I know we were all influenced, by Chadwick and
man. It was one of those things where, I'm big into sports. It was almost like when Kobe went. You know what I mean? Like I remember being at work. I got to work and it was winter and at work we're able to. Bring in kind of like whatever shoes we want. So I have like a Kobe pair that I wear. And I remember this one guy being like, hey, man, did you hear what happened? And I was like, what are you talking about? And like, Kobe died. And I was like, man, get it. And it's like you said, right? It's like one of those, every morning you wake up and it's like Leonardo DiCaprio died. The Rock died, this, that. And it's just like one of those like fake things. And like Kobe, man, it hit me hard. Here's why. Black Panther was always somebody I thought was really dope growing up as a kid. I never figured that they might be able to bring him like as a character. I was always like, how are they going to do that? And then when they did, it was awesome. I remember going to the theaters, man, and just seeing like people were going nuts. Black, white, Asian, green, yellow. It didn't matter. Everybody was loving that movie, I mean. And yeah, it sucked, man. I kind of regret selling my Fantastic Four 52 now. Because, and it's crazy. I get it's a business and things like that, but yesterday night, I think after you had done your show, I was like checking eBay and stuff. Man, people have no filter. Yeah. They have not like the shit people were saying, and even the book, man. Like you would think that they'd give like a day, like a grace period, but even like some of the books, like they were hitting like $800, $1,000 already. I was like, whoa, right? Like there's no like, why don't we just take a breath, enjoy what he did. And it's crazy because you touched on it yesterday, man. I was applauding you from afar. I remember I was telling some people on my team and buddies of mine to like check you out and things like that. And everybody was like, man, he's hitting everything on the note. Like it's not just a comic book character. It, like you saw it in the chat. Everybody was, came together as one. He did more movies than just Black Panther, but that's right. In the comic world, that's what we're going to remember him. And it's going to be tough, man. it's gonna be tough. I was looking forward to that Black Panther 2. I don't think, you know, I don't know. I don't know if they've started it, if they're half, if they're done, you know, with COVID and all that. I doubt they finished it. So I don't know what they're gonna do now. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and not to, you know, I know when we talk about these things, we don't mean to be like surface, not understanding the depth of what's going on. We've just discussed that, obviously, but it is a situation where you question, and I think for him and who he was and his legacy, I don't see him being replaced. I mean, I think the MCU can carry on Black Panther because it's a mantle.
Yeah,
you know, just like his father, you know, T'Chaka passed it down to T'Challa. I do not see T'Challa being recast. I see them trying to rework the mantle of Black Panther, but you know, yeah, I mean, ultimately, that sucks. I'm with you. I don't even know if they even started filming yet. So, but we'll see. And yeah, to your point, you know, I want to let everyone in the chat know, because I even posted this on a Facebook comic book buy sell trade group, like. And I say this humbly, like, I don't say it in a way to coerce anyone, but I really feel like if you guys are selling books and flipping books right now, you know, I think it should, like I was talking with Jeff about us being bigger people. I think it takes a bigger person to say, you know what, I'm not even going to go there right now. I'm going to take like the weekend or take 48 hours and not even go there. Don't even try to sell your Black Panther books or anything related to Chadwick, and just freaking chill for a minute out of respect. And I posted that on Instagram. So that's just kind of like my take. You know, y'all can hate me for it, but that's kind of how I'm rolling with it. So.
I was applauding you. I remember one of my buddies was like, dude, because he had never seen your channel, and he's like, man, I'm a fan of this guy. Like the way he's talking, he's right. He hit the, you know, it's funny because something that I was saying is, none of us, I mean, there was a few people that are like, oh, I met the guy and this and that, but it's crazy how we've never met this guy, but yet he's meant so much to us in the comic community. And I think that's what speaks volumes, is just the fact that we kind of felt like we knew him, just like any of the characters, right? Like we feel like we know them because we've grown up with these characters I know Black Panther was more recent, but I mean, like, you know, if you go to Iron Man, right? Like Iron Man is like 2006, right? It's been something that, you know, it's like 14 years, almost 16 years, somewhere around there. So, you know, you kind of grow up with these people, and it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you, you know, sharing your thoughts on this. But let's move on. You know, let's get some positive spirits up. And I just want to talk about you now. So let's let everyone watching, and guys, again, links below. Give Newbie a sub. Go check him out on Instagram. But I just want to ask, you know, about you. Tell us a little bit about you as a collector, and then how you got started into, you know, being a content creator on YouTube.
Oh man, I started collecting comics. I always say this when we do, like, so we usually go live on Tuesdays. We're starting to go live on Monday. We do like a speculation and new comic book day thing on Mondays. Tuesday, I just have, like, you know, my team, I call them, FaceTime, Pickle Joe, Key Issue, sometimes Sana Nation, you know, and we just shoot the shit. We talk pretty much about a topic, and then it just, you know, it turns into something fun. But I've been collecting comics for a long time. I met a crazy woman that I dated, and she basically was like, oh, you're getting too old for comics, why don't you sell everything? And then it basically became like, yeah, she's like, no, just sell everything. When I'm telling you guys, I had a lot of shit. Like, I remember when Venom 3 came out and all that, like, I had so many copies. I remember just whatever, because it was one of those things that she got into my head where I'm like, yeah, maybe, you know, I'm going to be 24 at the time. Yeah, maybe this is like for kids, right? Like it wasn't like it is now, right? With like YouTube and everything like that. So that happened. I sold everything, and you know, I was always connected to comics, and I'd always check out shops. I just never bought anything. And then I met my current girlfriend, who is like, dude, a night and day from me. She's cool as hell, but she's not into the comic game at all. Like, she's like, oh, is this a comic? Like, we were watching Old Guard, and she's like, I love that. I'm like, you want the comic? I have it. Like, do you want to read it? And she's like, what? But she is like if that's something you're passionate about, do it. And then when COVID hit, she was like, why don't you start? Like, why don't you start collecting? Why don't you start doing your YouTube thing? Because everybody who knows me knows, you know, like, this is who I am. You know, like, if my boss is here, if my family's here, you know, like, it's just natural. And I think that's something that a lot of people, you know, that's why I gravitate towards certain people. You know, like, people always ask me, like, hey, can I be on your show, or do you want to do? And it's tough sometimes because I like to gravitate towards natural, like, people who are just fun, natural. It's not like scripted, right? And that's where I came across you, and I was like, man, this guy's like real. This guy is genuine. He, you know, you can see the passion, and I think that's what, you know, a lot of people gravitate towards me as well. It's just because they see the passion and stuff like that. And man, I have no problem in saying I don't know something. You know, like, sometimes people are like, hey, do you know this artist? And I'm like, nope. Or, I'm like, no, you know, like, there's no shame in it. And I think that's where I also wanted to, like, that's where the whole newbie thing comes from, because I've always wanted to just help the new people coming in. Like, I don't like when, like, there's a lot of, like, experienced people who are just like, no, we don't want to teach you anything because you know, like, it's stupid, or you're going to take my money. Like, if somebody's helping me, like, say for you, for example, if you're helping me get into this comic industry and things like that, you're in California, are you really going to be in my local shops looking for the books you want? Like, it's not going to hurt either of our pot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
right.
Right?
The competition, right? It's like, doesn't always have to be a competition.
Yeah, you're just helping me out. Like, hey, you know, this is the book you should be on the lookout for. And I always found it tough, because I would always ask people, and they'd always be like, no, man, you got to do it on your own, because you're going to take my bag. And it's like, dude, you live in, like, Europe or, like, Texas. We're not in the same shops, you know, like. So I was always one of those that, you know what, I wanted to help the new guys come in. And it's never a bad thing to have more people in the hobby. I think that's important. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, yeah. I want to touch on a couple things there real quick. One, it reminded me of a situation. I don't know if many of you guys are familiar with Comics Most Wanted. I don't know if he's making much content on YouTube anymore, but he's local to me, real cool dude. And I ran into him at my local shop, A1 Comics, at a sale one time. And I remember, like, we were in line before they opened, shopping it up. And then right when the doors opened, I'm like, I always say, I don't know if you know about the TV show, the game show, Supermarket Sweep. You might be a little, yeah, you remember that? Yeah, and they would go get their shopping carts to try to fill them up with the turkeys and all the expensive stuff, and come back, and whoever had the most value. It's like that. When I'm at a store that's having a sale and those doors open, I'm like, Supermarket Sweep. I'm going to the hottest things I'm trying to grab, and I lost him. It's like we were gonna hang out, go in, and like, but I was like, nope, peace, boom. And I didn't say that. I just naturally went on my own way, you know. And he's like, where did Chris go? Like, and then we ended up coming back at the Spider-Man bins, and we were both digging, and I you know, he was digging in the late, like, the 300s. I was digging in the 100s, and I'm like, hey, they got a 315 in there. Hey, it's a 3. He was like, oh yeah, but I already grabbed it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's all you. It's all you. And he was like, when I said that, he was kind of like, oh, you sure? You should, like, because I think, and I remember he came on his channel after that and was like, man, thanks to, you know, Jerno for not making that situation awkward. Because I was like, dude, you grabbed it. That's your book. I mean, come on now. So I think we need to your point, you know, we got to be humble. We got to allow that competitive nature to not overtake the love of community, and, like you said, educating other people, right? And you know what I don't like too, and what I see a lot, like, in Facebook forums, is when people ask questions and then they get comments full of, like, narcissistic cynicism, like, oh, you don't know. Like, really? Are you serious?
At one point, nobody knew. That's the thing I always try to teach people. Exactly. At one point, you didn't know how to walk or talk, but
right.
Yeah, okay. Or do math or drive a car. Like, you can't tell me somebody, like, maybe the 1% of geniuses could, like, you know, get into a car, drive it, or do math equations, right? Like, in anything in life, you need help. And I think that, you know, so many people are just worried about securing their bag, but to a point where it's like, okay, Jerno, if I'm helping you and I'm like, hey, you know what, you should be on the lookout for this book. I'm telling you because you're in California. Like, I think it'd be a little different if you, like, live beside me. Like I see key issues here. He's one of my boys, one of my closest friends. You know, we have a rule. We go to the store. We know what we're gonna go for. But if one of us has like a spec that we're looking for, like deeply and truly, one of us will find it, and then we'll be like, hey, you know what? You should be on the lookout for this book because it's, you know, it's this importance or things like that. But when you're like, you know what I mean? You live in Cali. Like, why wouldn't you want to help people? Like, it's not like we're going to the same stores or anything like that. It's just, it's crazy, man. I've always just wanted to help people. I saw a lot of people, and I'm going to butcher this word, the Faseline. Is that how you say it? Yeah. I've seen so many people get burned on those books. I've seen so many people get burned on Iron Man, because I'm a huge Iron Man guy.
I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna bring that up next. So yeah,
don't know that I'm huge on Iron Man, but like I've seen so many people get burned on 281, which is the cameo of War Machine, the second print, which looks like 282. And I seen a lot of people get burned, man. Just recently, I passed by this one guy, and he told me, because we were talking about Gambit, and he's like, "Oh man, I just paid like $150 for that Faseline Gambit, like 266," and I'm like, "Oh man, like that's crazy." You know, like it's just like trying to help people understand, you know, the scammers and how things work, and just educate, right? Because like in anything, you know, like I wouldn't want to go and buy a car and not know anything about cars, and there's like no engine or no
exactly.
Like, yeah, it's ready to go, right? So that's just how I look at it, man.
Yeah. Hey, I hear you, man. You know, it's funny. I reported him. There was a guy on selling on Facebook Marketplace, the $3.99 cover facsimile of a Hulk 181, trying to ask like $1,800 for it. And I called him out too. I said, "This is the most unethical BS I've seen. You better take this down. I'm reporting you." And it was removed. I don't know if he did it or whatnot, but yeah, I don't stand for that. You know, that is just that's crossing the line, man. And it's sad that there's people out there like that. I think the majority of us, you know, have at least a decent amount of humility when it comes to these things. But
man, and I feel like you have to. You know, it's just I don't know, man. I have a hard time. I've always been told I'm bad at poker. My girl always tells me you're a terrible liar. I am, because like I don't like seeing people. My friends love it when we play poker. They're always like, "Hey, you want to come? Like, are you sure you don't want to?" You know, and I'm like, but I just hate, you know, seeing people work hard for their money, get into a hobby that has so much love, so many people in it, and so much education, and then get screwed by one or two people, and then they get just turned down and have a negative, you know, say on the community. Because like, let's think about it. Anytime you get screwed over in anything that you're passionate about, what do? You know what? Fuck that. I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
That. Screw those people. They're all the same, and that's what I try to. You know, I don't want to get to that point. You know, I'd rather educate and help people, and that's it.
Good stuff, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you talked about Iron Man. So like right now though, you know, Spider-Man's my main guy, but because I hunt after Spider-Man so much, I'm not always collecting Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So are you kind of, where are you at right now with what you're collecting? What are you, you know, hunting after? Marvel, DC, certain characters, certain ages?
You know what? I'm always going to be in silver. I love silver. I think gold, it's nothing against gold people. I put gold age people with like Funko people. You know, they're just a different type, and that's okay. You know, that is right. Okay. I'm not, you know, sometimes the Funko people get mad because they're like, "What do you mean Funko people?" It's like, hey, you know, like I have a few, you know, it's just different ways of collecting and things like that. I stick more with Marvel. However, if I do find something nice, by nice I mean, you know, like I would love to have that Batman Two-Face Silver Age. You know, there are some issues. It's just they're so far in, you know, what they're asking. Like one of my grails DC wise is probably Batman 121, Mr. Freeze. But I mean, when you look at that, you know, you're spending almost $1,800, $2,000. Well, then I start looking, okay, for that money, what other keys or books can I get to kind of shrink my grail list or books that I want, right? So that's kind of where I go, where some people are like, they're okay with spending, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 on a book once a year, right? Where I'd rather just, you know, why can't I get like 4 or 5 or 6 a year, things like that.
Yeah.
As for collecting, man, you know, I'm not against people who flip. You know, you do your thing. I do it from time to time only because I like to think that if you're able to buy a modern book and then flip it for something and get money, like I kind of put that towards more silver. I think silver is where the money is. I think silver is where the good characters are, the good stories, things like that. They hold value. That's what I always preach when people say,
Yep.
when they ask me, you know, with modern, it just, you know, the thing with collecting is I like the old school drawings and the covers, you know, like the old Fantastic Four, the Spider-Man. Like I like those old cartoony, you know, vibrant colors and things like
Yes.
that. Where like some of the covers nowadays, it's like it's just a human. Like it's literally just a human or things like that. And I'm like, it's not really a cover, right?
You know, to that, it's really interesting because I love Alex Ross. I love
Yeah.
and Alex Garner actually are probably two of my more favorite. And I think they both use watercolors, and I love their art. And sometimes I will you know, buy books just for the cover art. I'm not big on the whole variant thing, but
Yeah.
and as an artist, I recognize that. But I am so with you. Like if there were books that and it wasn't about value, it was just about which books would you rather have, I would still go with those classic covers, Steranko's and Kirby's and whatnot, and you know that have the like you said, the vibrant colors, the purples and the oranges and the yellows and greens and whatnot. There's just something about it that speaks to me as well. So
Dude,
I'm right there with you, man.
Fantastic Four, yeah, man, like Fantastic Four. I love like even the header, like the lettering and just how
Yes.
it is. Like I've always loved that stuff, man. I think that was those comics, that art, that was what really got me into it, where I'm like, man, this is dope. Like,
Yeah.
just really dope. And Spider-Man too, you know, like I don't mind the Spider-Man ones. There's some X-Men ones, like early X-Men, I really like. I just don't like when the page is like, when the cover is just like, there's too much, where you're like, hey, what's going on, right? Like,
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah.
you know, Gambit, he's one of my favorite characters of all time, probably number 3. But like you look at that X-Men Annual 14, you're like, man, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
there's so much going on, man.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely. Hey, really interesting point because you brought up like the font of Fantastic Four. Do you feel like, you know, like, and I'll give an example, like, you know, let's look at a couple books here.
Yeah, man.
You know, you look at like, for one, you know, the layout of the logo in the boxes and whatnot, whereas like, you know, you go into your Bronze and Copper Age with Marvel where they have the banner across here. I am really like, I gravitate to things like that. Like I want one reason that I don't like some of the more modern books is because of just the layout and the logo and like the font of the, like for X-Men, like those new X-Men logos, like the X, it's like the X in a circle with men. It's like, I don't like that. And that kind of like is a variable that makes me say, no, I don't want to buy that book. Do you find yourself kind of,
man, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
so go ahead.
I'm so picky too with what like I buy, because I'll get into those like just sporadic, you know, up and downs where I'm like, okay, new comic book day, I'm gonna get all the books I want. And then like you know, some of them are like, okay, the story's not what I expected, or you know, there wasn't any hype like people thought. You know, I'll always pick up the first appearances, but then there's other weeks where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna pick up anything, and then you miss out, and then you're like, okay, but I want to put money on here. Like, there's so much going on nowadays that it's so hard, man. You gotta really know what you're doing with your money. You gotta really, and this is what I tell like a lot of new collectors, like you really just can't go on like a hype train. You can't just go on. Right. On one channel, random channel, and just, you know, listen to everybody and chase, because there's so much, you know, like homework you have to do in order to, you know, A, get a good price, B, know where the book is and things like that. And I think that's a lost art. I think people just hear, like, you know, people are like, hey, you know, what's a book you really want? ASM 300. Oh, okay. And then they're like, well, man, that's like a $800 book. Well, yeah. Like, what do you expect, right? And then they want to flip it. And it's like, well, you can't flip it right now. Like that, you know, like just people don't know the ups and downs of market trends or things. But that's what I love about just like our community, man. It's I know I'm gonna bring this guy up, but like my buddy Kieshu, right? He loves comics. I think he knows more than me. He's really knowledgeable. But what I find fascinating is he'll be the first one to tell you his favorite characters are Dupe and Spawn, right? To most people be like, who? Right? Like, especially to Dupe, right?
Right,
Spawn,
right.
some people might be like, but I love it because it's his niche, right? Like, it's his thing. He's passionate about those characters. So that's what I like. I love having those conversations with people where I'm like, hey, what do you collect? What are your characters? Because it's like asking somebody like what their favorite number is or color. Like, it's just it can be anything, right? So I like that, man.
For sure, man. Well, I mean, I'll just say, you know, and kind of to wrap up here, I really appreciate your style, your knowledge, and I think, again, I relate with you on so many things, but at the same time, I think that the key thing that I took out from this conversation was that there is this understanding of learning and respecting the hobby, because there's so many different variables. And I agree, man, when we talk about content creators and having this platform and being, I mean, we are creators, but we are also fans that watch other creators. Yeah, and it's a learning experience. And I'm so thankful. I think this community is extremely healthy right now. It's growing. I think we're living in a time, unfortunately though, but it's allowed us to use this platform for just more good, to really bring more people together, to, you know, sit here and have something like comic books and pop culture is something that where we can really connect, man. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts today. And
we will definitely connect sooner than later for sure. And yeah, like I said, man, thanks for having me. Everyone in the chat, thanks for joining.
Indeed. And guys, again, all the links below. Check out Newbie on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you can find him. Check him out. Obviously, you guys got to experience him today. If you haven't experienced him before, really good dude. Newbie, thank you again so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Let's talk soon so I can see you on the flip side over on your channel, huh?
Sure, brother. All right, man. Thanks
for sure. Take care.
Later.
Awesome stuff, guys. Again, go check out Newbie Comics, please, guys. If you haven't subbed to his channel yet or followed him on Instagram, take this time right now. You can even open it up in another link or another tab if you're on your laptops. Go check it out. You can always come right back. We're still going to be here for a little while. We got a couple more guests. So go do that. Give some love to all of these guests today. So, guys, but next up, I'm going to grab a little water here. And let me look at some comments real quick. See what we got going on. Everyone's still hanging out. This is Sequential Geek, Joseph, Mega Road, Keys. Thank you guys so much for joining today. So next up, I got two awesome guests, guys. They reached out to me about their comic books that they've been creating. They were nice enough to send me some copies, and boy, did I just really love and enjoy. Practically, I mean, hey, you know, I had my critiques, but I really enjoyed reading these books, and I'm all about supporting independent publishers. So I want to welcome two individuals coming all the way from, I believe you would still call it the far east coast of the Canadian province, Nova Scotia. Grandway Comics. We have Jeff and Derek. How are you guys doing today? Oh, you guys are I think I got you muted here. Or you guys are muted on your end there. Let's see. It's still, yep, still muted. I see the little bar and the icon here.
There you go.
There we go.
Sorry, brother.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good, man. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. You too, guys. Thank you for showing up today. I love that you guys got a nice vibe there going on. Very relaxing.
We're in the zone, man.
Yes.
Taking it easy, yeah. Chilling out.
Yeah, I almost went completely dark today because it's so hot in here, and when I have the lights on, it just adds to that heat. So, but I thought it'd be better that I make myself known. I don't have any cool lighting like you guys do, so.
Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, and I want to say too to everyone watching, this I call this a B-Day Bash celebration, but it really I think is a testament to all the guests that I have on for me to celebrate with people that I think should also be celebrated. And for you guys, in Grandway Comics, I'm so happy that you guys reached out to me and that I've gotten to know your brand over these last few weeks. So, and some of the viewers, you guys may have watched my review. If you haven't, go check it out. It's on my channel. I did a review of a few of their books that they sent me, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. But enough about me talking about them. Let's kind of go in and let the guests, learn straight from the source from you guys. So, I mean, first and foremost, can you guys just introduce yourselves and give us a little backstories on, what comics mean to you two?
Go ahead, bro.
Oh my gosh. I'm Jeff. Jeff Knott, co-president and co-founder of Grandway Comics. What comic books in general mean for me? I mean, oh my gosh. Well, those are the first characters I ever, I took a pencil and paper too. That's for sure. Superman, and the Super Friends, Spider-Man, all those guys. Just loved all that stuff always, and just happy to be able to do our own stuff right now with Derek here, long time friend and partner.
And Derek Jessen, co-president, founder, cartoonist for Grandway Comics. Comic books. Well, I mean, just growing up in a small town, and it was a good escape and a fun one to go to the local corner store every Wednesday and pick up that book off the comic book rack and take it home and read it. And just a huge part of growing up and getting involved in comics and the mythos of comics and just had a really great time, and those were really fun memories now. And that's basically what we're trying to recreate with Grandway Comics. I mean, these books are they're aimed at a younger audience, so they're for younger readers, of course. And as you know, man, adults seem to enjoy them just as much or more. But,
That's true.
Yeah, try to replicate some of that sunshine, some of that.
Absolutely. So now you guys are co-founders, co-creators, co-writers, and co-artists, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we both pencil and and both ink. Pencil and then we'll ink each other's stuff.
Nice. Okay.
Stories,
awesome.
jam on stories.
So how did you guys meet?
We met at a community college, actually, taking animation.
Nice.
Yeah, we met at animation school, community college, and we moved on. We worked in animation for the past 20 years. 20 some odd years in animation as storyboard artists, designers, animators, done the rounds in that industry. So, hone the skills, storytelling skills, and ultimately, so we decided to take our knowledge and to take what we spent our lifetime working on and start putting out some comic books. So.
Always wanted to do it. I always wanted to do it. We just didn't. Just sort of. Ultimately, came down to it, and just to do something, get our stuff out there for a moment, like get some of our ideas out there. And that was the best way.
There's a problem there too, and it's like when you want to draw your own comic books, you've got a few choices, and that's basically you've got the choices of drawing the big two, that's what for a superhero comic book fan like myself anyway. So you've got the big two, and so never really had the wanted to do it, but when somebody would say, "Why don't you do your own thing?" and I mean, well, what do you do there? How does that work?
We ended up
Right.
we did a variety of pitches, just like I say, through the years in animation, just trying to sell different shows and things of that nature. So we've just sort of
Oh shoot.
a lot of time, and once we decided to sit down and we were going to just sort of do a page, just something that we could maintain daily, and then just sort of took off from there. And it's just been a lot of fun. Really happy to hear you've enjoyed the books, and always happy to hear anyone enjoying that stuff there, Chris. We really appreciate you having us there. Thank you.
Yeah. Indeed, and you guys have brought up some interesting things just right now too, in terms of marketing to those younger readers. And I know, especially last year in 2019, the young reader market was extremely healthy and saw a lot of increases. Obviously, not just with solo print issues, but with trade paperback graphic novels and whatnot as well. But there is a market there. But I also find it very interesting. And my take on it was, and I brought up, I'll bring it up again, but, looking at the lineup of some of your characters here, you guys do have that very, an organic, I would say. I don't really like to use the word retro, but it's very true to, the historical feel of, comic books. And I do feel there's a great balance there. So, I mean, you say it's, you want to market to younger readers, but are you guys conscious of the fact that there's a lot of, folks that are, getting up in a little in age now, that grew up with comic books, say in the 70s or 80s and whatnot, and they are not happy with the current state of modern comics. Do you guys kind of recognize that and feel that your books also speak to that part of the market?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
There's that for sure. Ultimately, in the end, though, I mean, we decided to very early on was just sort of, let's draw what we like. I mean,
Right.
let's just, I mean, and there's an aesthetic. There's a pop art aesthetic that we always liked there too. I mean, that
There's at a glance clarity.
yeah, there's
Like,
sort of
if you open our book and if you glance at it, you should be able to see see what's there.
there's a few different things that and ultimately it just came down to that. There, we were just going to do what we enjoy, and I mean. I guess I mean, if you're a musician, I mean, what you listen to might come out in what you play.
Right.
I mean, we're big fans of. I mean, it's not hard to find our influences. I don't think I will. Love all that old, that Silver Age stuff. Definitely, big fans of that stuff.
Absolutely.
But, that for sure is a factor. I mean, like obviously, I mean, we're making the comic books that we basically grew up with. Now, I have a limited knowledge on exactly what is going on with the industry because I don't pay too much attention to it. But I do know, and I've always felt for many years, that there was a market that is sort of being ignored, and that was just the fun stuff that we sort of grew up with the Silver Age, and it sort of had a whimsical. Flair, colorful iconography that was easily read and hell of a lot of fun, and sort of felt like that space was not being marketed to that youthful audience. How do kids get their hands on comic books, and what do they read with a superhero comic book now, or morality tales, and sort of the stuff that was more prevalent in in the 70s, the 80s.
Well, we've seen, it appears anyway that for the most part that sort of level of that sort of kind of superhero story seems to be missing for young readers. Like it's often too whimsical. Like it's like a baby Superman, baby Batman, or something.
Right.
It's never those guys. I remember when we were kids, it was never. Geez, it wasn't Robin. I mean. So.
And there's a Saturday morning aspect to it. Those cartoon shows, classic Saturday morning cartoons.
I mean, if you want to do, definitely. I mean, there's room for it all. I mean, it's not too hard to find any type of hyper violent or any type of
right.
retrospective type of comics. But so we're just sort of filling that a gap, and having, just trying to have some fun and try to provide a fun product. Keeping that, I guess, like the original Star Wars movie in mind, Raiders of the Lost Ark, like a 6-year-old can watch it and a 16-year-old can watch it.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody wank tongue tonight.
Yeah. And I like your point there about there's always something there for someone, and I think there's enough room in a market like this where, it doesn't have to be one thing streamlined, trying to be force fed to everyone. So I like that you guys are taking this approach and obviously staying true to you and to the aspect of the writing as well. I mean, when I picked up the book and just to show them here, I mean, the first one I read was the Space Cowboy, and like I was like 1 or 2 pages in, and I really felt like I was reading that's 1963 Fantastic Four book that Lee was sitting there penciling and writing himself. And I don't mean that. I'm not saying that in a way to say that it's you guys are like just copying something that was there before, because it was still
feelings you're having.
Oh, we appreciate it.
It's familiar.
Yeah. I mean, it was like it was almost not even a conscious thing. It was more like it felt organically like that, and I was really just there within it. So I thought that was great. And one thing I want to bring up too is, and I brought this up in my review. I felt that there was and I know it was only the first issue of 3 different characters or titles, so I didn't have a lot to dive into after that. Of course, we're being introduced to these characters, but even in those first the first issue of those few titles, I felt that there is a very easily absorbed kind of like moral what's the word, like I don't want to say dilemma, but like this approach of there is a real life, how do I as a human being, and we take this in as readers, you're faced with these I don't know, maybe you guys can find the words for me, but when we're hit with these kind of situations where it tests our moral ground and how we act in the choices that we make in these situations. Is that kind of accurate? And like I said, I think it was very easy to take in, where I wasn't having to read through it and decipher. It was just naturally placed to where you don't even have to think about it, but yet subconsciously you're taking these things in and experiencing them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, love it.
So happy.
Thank you.
Really happy. That's what we're doing.
That's
the point. That's the point.
That's what makes it all absolutely worthwhile here. And this, thank you, Chris. Yeah, we really appreciate the. Those are the type of again, I guess those are the type of it's just that's pretty much the way the superhero was.
My question was
a superhero.
Yeah, my question was where are the heroes? Where are the heroes? And now a hero to a child, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Where's that influence? That Lone Ranger, that heroic those morality tales. Where are they? And I mean, they're out there, but I mean, it's just like it seems to be like that classic hero is put aside in favor of the gray anti-hero and the violence they can inflict upon their enemies. Now, we're big action movie fans. We like all that stuff. I mean, like hey, listen, I'm not,
Yeah.
you know, like I like that action stuff as much as anybody else. But what about the youth? What about the kids? And what are they supposed to look? Who are they looking up to? You know,
Absolutely.
even in the comic book context.
So I want to point out some comments here. Sequential Geek says Grandway is 150 USD per comic. Is that accurate for the digital downloads? Is that 150? Because I think it was it 199 for the digital download and 399 for the physical copy?
Yeah, it's 199. Maybe he's talking about maybe the exchange. It's 199 Canadian.
Right.
Too, yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, guys. So yeah, if you check out their website, you can find the first issues available for digital download at only $199, which was be the Canadian price point. So yeah, with the exchange rate, Sequential Geek sounds about accurate to be about 150. Kid Collector says he likes the design of Laser Boy, and I will say I love that all of them had very unique characteristics and unique stories to them. You know, I didn't feel like I was reading the same thing. You know, it's like when you dive into like an author like Tom Clancy, and not to knock Tom Clancy, he's a great author, has a lot of successful work, but you know what it's the same thing every time, and you know what you're reading. Like with these, I felt each of them were very fresh and unique. And I must say, I really, really loved Wild Girl and Laser Boy. I loved how you guys utilize the different art style for the backdrops. It was just, it really brought you into the to the world. Yeah, I mean, overall, again, very unique storylines across the board. So for the viewers, pull this out again. I have got everyone watching. We got the links below. Sub them up on YouTube. They're on Instagram, but definitely check out their website if you're interested in getting your hands on the books. That's where to go. You guys are available with your contact information if you guys want to reach out with any questions. But my question to you both is, what do we have to look forward to from Grandway in the near future, or what's on the horizon here?
It's pretty amazing.
Well, you know, we just dropped Space Cowboy #2. Now, Chris, actually, I just got to ask you, were you able to? I hope you were able to take, or I hope you will take a look. I know it's not in print form yet, but I hope you'll take a look here.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet. I've been so swamped, but I will absolutely get to reading that soon here.
Well, the plan is okay. Well, I'm so glad you love Grand Adventure. Wait till you check out Grand Adventure #2. I'm going to tell you, that's going to, okay, yeah, hang on. And okay, so the plan is to get those 3 follow-up books, and of course, Street Fighting Man #2. Those 2 guys are in the works right now to have those guys up and done before Christmas. They're all going to be in print form before Christmas.
Nice.
We'll be, you know, if anyone, you know, if everybody would like to, you know, just always you know, check in on us with Facebook or whatever. We keep everything up to date, and we're going to, you know, we'll let everybody know the moment that is. Well, what's going to happen is we're going to have this stuff available directly through our website. We're going to get our website revamped, and the print copies will be available directly from us. Right now, if you do want that, I mean, just contact us, but we'll have actually, you'll be able to order, just, you know, it'll be very clear very soon.
Awesome.
Then, of course, on to #3. The #3 in the new year, and etc.
Lots of stories planned too, man. Like, we've got a lot to do. So you made a perfect point. I mean, this is the first. You're reading the first issues, so you're just getting a glimpse of what's planned. So, you know, more of the same, but a whole lot more than you think. I hope.
We've got these guys' adventures mapped out. You know, we know where we're going to take them. We just have to sit down and put the time at the desk and keep on rolling. You know,
absolutely, guys. So, man, again, I want to let everyone watching know to just go, please check out Grandway Comics. Give them some support. I am big on, supporting independent companies, and I think this is a great way. If you guys have kids, if you want to get your kids into reading comics, check them out. And this is a great segue to bring them in. If you are a bit older and an older generation and you really love the classics, this is going to be awesome for you too. There's so much value in these books, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Really wish the best for you both in the future. Let's be in touch. Yeah, I'm going to read Space Cowboy #2 soon. Can't wait for Grand Adventure. Can't wait for that one. But yeah, let's be in touch, and I want to keep my viewers in the loop as well with what you guys have going on, and
touch on one more thing that you brought up
Yes.
earlier, and yeah, about the older comic book readers, the people that grew up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Oh yeah, they all love our books.
Yeah,
we haven't met anybody that hasn't.
And I told people I said, if you guys, if you guys are the ones that are complaining about modern
That's why
books,
we're here.
and you're not supporting Grandway, exactly. It's like, I don't want to hear it anymore. So
there's what you're looking for in a nutshell. There you go. Yeah, perfect. Well, on that note, there too, of course, Chris. And aside from thank you for we thank you for the wonderful compliments.
Thank you, brother.
But also, yeah, I'm really glad. We're really glad you brought up younger readers, of course. That's just it. The product is it's open. It's clean, fun, but still lots of action, adventure, and well, geez, be all right if we get a toy line out of it somewhere too. So,
if you don't feel better after you read an issue, then we failed in some way.
We want everyone to be entertained, so we try to keep
that's awesome.
You get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. All right, Jeff, Derek, thank you again so much for stopping by. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Be well, have a good weekend, and let's be in touch.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
Take care, guys.
Care.
All right, man. Just two great guys doing great things. Again, guys, please go check out Grandway Comics. Again, it's like you really can't go wrong with it. If you guys haven't watched my review, go check that out. I just think that there's so much there when it comes to what they're providing. And look, I'm sure we as collectors, and I'm not saying that we're all made of money, right? But if we could spend a couple dollars and help an independent company like them out, let's do that, because we're going to the LCSs, spending $3.99 plus on new books every week. Let's take a couple dollars, buy one of their books out, just try it out. And like I said, if you guys have kids, at any age, really, I mean, from 3 to 4 years old, man, well, if you don't mind them getting a little wrinkled, if you're reading them, all the way up to teenagers, and they have the $1.99 digital download versions as well. So guys, Grandway Comics, so happy to have had them on today. So let me look at some comics here. We got another guest waiting backstage. Get some more water, man. I appreciate you all for sticking with us here and still hanging out. Let's see. Joseph's in the house. We got Isaac still with us. Isaac says, I definitely will check out Grandway Comics. Seem like a really cool company. It'd be fun to check out. Absolutely. Kid Collector looks like he's interested in some Laser Boy. I really enjoyed Wild Girl and Laser Boy for sure. Absolutely. Let's see. Grandway makes comic books for all ages. So for anybody, absolutely. Baby head, yep. Joseph, baby head. And like I said, every story and all the characters I felt were definitely unique to themselves. And I break that down in the review. So, like I said, guys, go check out my review. Give Grandway a sub. But let's move on, guys. Let's move on. It's been great so far. Thank you to everyone showing up so far. Next up, guys, this is for my Star Wars fans. If you guys don't know, you can't really see them today, but you can see some of my figures up there. But I needed to put the camera a little lower, give my Wakanda Forever love. But I am a big Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. I have a lot of Star Wars toys, Star Wars comics, Star Wars laser discs, Star Wars VHS, Star Wars lightsabers, Star Wars Legos, whatever it may be. And look, when I think about talking about Star Wars, or even if I need to find any information about Star Wars, there's a couple people out there, especially that are content creators on YouTube. I will have to give a big shout out to Star Wars Theory. Now, they've taken off. They're a huge channel doing big things. A big shout out to them. But I have to say that this individual just really knows his stuff. And besides knowing his Star Wars stuff, he's just a really, really good human being. So I want to welcome to the show none other than
Hey.
B-Level.
Hey man, I'm honored by that intro.
For sure, man.
Happy special day. Also wanted to say
Thank
rest
you.
in peace to Chadwick Boseman. I know a lot of people who follow my content know that I don't really watch any of the MCU or keep up with it, but I know how much Black Panther meant to so many people out there in the community, and just wanted to say my respects there. But it's been an awesome
Appreciate that,
stream
man.
that you put together, man. I got off streaming about 40 minutes ago or so, and I'm gonna go back and watch the whole thing. Seems like you had a great roster of guests.
Thank you, man. Yeah. I know we were talking about schedule. It ended up working out. It's like right on time for 7.
Yeah, this
your
is
time.
perfect. I was just downing some food before getting on here, and perfect timing.
For sure, man. Yeah. All right, guys. So look, especially if you like Star Wars at all, even if you're just kind of a casual, dab and dip into some Star Wars here and there, guys, go check out B-Level. Links below. I believe we got the link to the YouTube as well as his Instagram. So go give him a subscribe and follow. So
Hey, one more thing before I'm just
Yeah.
gonna send in the private chat too. I want to shout out all my people on my podcast. I just put a link in the private chat to the Council in Exile podcast, which I do with a bunch of really awesome Star Wars fans. If you want to find content that's like really positive, people who know their stuff, people who have different opinions but can still vibe with each other. We just did a podcast today, had a great time. So I implore you to give my other people some love as well.
Yep, there's that link. I put the link in the comments, guys. If it's not clickable, just give it a copy and paste it into your browser, and go check them out for sure, man, for sure. Let's see. Yeah, so man, B-Level. So one thing that is just I've been really wanting to talk with you about. We're going to talk about a couple things here today, but I just recently, actually, you know what? Slow down. I'm going to pause on that because I know you just gave us a little information right now and I dropped the link, but tell us a little bit more about your channel and the content you create.
Yeah, sure. Just out of curiosity, it's up to you. That link that I sent you, if you're interested in sharing it on screen, I can kind of talk about our recent podcasts. If you're able to, up to you.
Well, the link is just going to be ooh, and I lost it. Where'd it go? No, that's it. Oh, there it is, right there.
It's
that link, right?
It's to a playlist, but it's got the different thumbnails of some of the things.
Oh, gotcha.
We talked about. And this actually goes directly to your recent Star Wars binge that you did. Because I know you watched all the films in recent continuity.
And that's the question I was going to ask. That's one of the big questions.
Yeah, I guess I can guess that and talk about that. But yeah, so my name's B-Level Star Wars. I've been doing YouTube crazy just under 2 years now, actually. But for the first 6 months or so of my channel, I was doing some prequel fan edits. I had a prequel fan edit movie that unfortunately didn't pass due to some of the Disney regulations, but pretty much since early 2019, I've been doing Star Wars commentary, promoting a lot of, I grew up with a lot of the expanded universe comic books. So that's kind of how I really like Jerno's channel, like a really great comic guru right here. And yeah, so I basically been doing a lot of that stuff and getting on board a lot of people who are newer to Star Wars, who maybe got into things through like The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi or the sequel trilogy, and showing them some of the old school stuff beyond just the old films Lucas made, but also some of the older comics, video games, stuff like that. And I keep up with new stuff as well, like Mandalorian, Jedi Fallen Order. So although I lean kind of more into favoring expanded universe stuff, I'm broadly hang out with a group of quote unquote dual canon Star Wars fans. So basically fans that kind of like broadly observe both stuff and can chill with each other. And it's really fun. I feel like we're starting to build a community where it's not so toxic, where people have to like one certain movie over the other, then they can't be friends. And it's really great that way. You have great diversity of thought, great diversity overall, and really hoping to expand that in the Star Wars fandom. And I know, Jerno, you're like what you have right here, man. You could be at the helm of the comic book Avenger crew on YouTube. I swear, man. You're like the Captain America up here.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I was just saying, especially in times like these, I think these communities are growing. I know, to your point, Star Wars isn't in itself its own entity, but often it crosses over. But I'm definitely glad that there's individuals like you that can really bring that together. And just like anything, even in comics, there's things that can be divisive, but it seems extremely that way with Star Wars as of late. And I'm glad that we or Star Wars fans can get back to just loving the art of it and the core root of the franchise and the films and the books and whatever. So
I think,
but and I don't want to be extremely controversial today in the things we talk about. It's meant to be more playful, but the one thing that I've been really itching to address with you is like you brought up, I recently watched a Star Wars marathon, and what I did was I watched them in continuity order, not order of release, but in the time that they took place. So I started with the prequels, and then I went into Solo, Rogue One, and then the original trilogy, and then of course the sequel trilogy. I didn't, do all any like the animated series or anything like that, just the film. So I watched them all together. And one thing that I noticed, because you have obviously a lot of different creators involved with the Disney films that have came out, and directors and whatnot. But I personally believe that every film that I watch, from the prequels to the original trilogies to Rogue One and Solo, and even J.J. Abrams to episode 7 and 9, I felt they had a tone that you can define as Star Wars. And it really dinged in my head that when I watched The Last Jedi with all of them, it really, to me, had more of what I'm calling a Spaceballs tone. That's what that's the only way I could grasp. So be level. All right. I want you to speak on this. And first off, I want you to obviously just give your opinion on tone in general, and then just tell me if I'm completely crazy.
No, for sure, man. I totally remember this when I was in the film watching it. And what struck me about it, do you all remember Adam Driver's SNL skit where he was Matt the technician, the radar technician? And
I think I saw some of that, at least like on a video, like on a YouTube video or something.
Yeah, it was like Undercover Boss, and he plays Matt the radar technician. He puts on a blonde wig and then like a kind of engineer suit and interacts with the other stormtroopers and officers in Starkiller Base, and it's really funny. And so when Rey gives Luke the lightsaber at the start of Rise of Skywalker, and he looks at this and he just looks at her like, "Get off my lawn," like, and then just chucks the lightsaber. I laughed my head off when I was in the theater actually about that. But what's really funny was, because at the time I was in the middle of my getting my degree at university, so like my thoughts weren't completely in Star Wars. Like I was kind of like, it was the holiday season, exams were over, going to see a movie with family, stuff like that. So I was watching a lot of the slapstick humor and thinking, this is SNL, this is cringy funny, but it occurred to me midway through, this is an episodic Star Wars film. So to speak, like, these would be funny if this was SNL or some kind of like late night like spoof where you got the actors to do like a joke version of what could have happened. But then I thought, this is like the episode. This is the official episode, and they're doing this slapstick humor. Because for example, there's a lot of dramatic moments in The Last Jedi that a lot of people praise.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are worthwhile of praise personally. But the slapstick humor takes away from the tone of The Last Jedi. Could you imagine if in Empire Strikes Back, if like Luke's trying to lift like rocks or the X-wing, and then like the space monster comes out of the swamp, then burps and then goes back underneath.
Right.
Or if you have like Darth Vader is confronting Han Solo, then a stormtrooper says an awkward one-liner.
Yeah.
Is an awkward one-liner, and it breaks the tension. And to me, what has been great about Star Wars when it comes to humor, like the banter between Han, Leia, and Luke, is that the comedy, it fits in, but it feels like it's actually like in-universe comedy. It's not breaking the fourth wall. And Last Jedi breaks the fourth wall.
Let me speak to that, because I'm thinking about this, and that dynamic, that because I think we saw that with like you said, with we saw it with the three of them, really, with Luke, Han, and Leia. And there's always this kind of like aggressive, it may be kind of whimsical in a way, but it's kind of this tension. But you're right, it's still not over the top, and it fit and it worked. And one more other thing, as you were saying this, that I was thinking about, look at Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. Yoda was kind of silly, right? And we don't really see that in the prequels. Yoda's very serious and stern throughout the prequels, but when Luke meets Yoda, he's extremely kind of silly. He's kind of hitting with the stick. Yeah. But how I took that is Yoda was playing silly to like test Luke. It wasn't like this, over the top humor for the sake of humoring the fans.
Right. And then when he appears as a ghost in Last Jedi, they take trolling Yoda to be Yoda's persona, and that's not his persona. It's almost akin to Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 2 when he goes into the nightclub. He puts on like player Kenobi mode, like he's acting all smooth in the nightclub. That's not Obi-Wan. He's blending into his environment. And one of the critiques of the Dave Filoni's CG Clone Wars is they take nightclub Obi-Wan, like the smooth Obi-Wan, and they lay that throughout his persona in the show. But really, Obi-Wan's more just this by the books Jedi. He's got a heart too. But exactly to your point, Yoda's testing Luke. He is seeing, how does Luke treat just a random person in the galaxy? Because a true Jedi treats everybody with respect and kindness. Or does Luke just like flip off this like trolling guy going, "Grrr!"
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, can he take it serious?
And I think the understanding of the difference between like how the humor, or even just like the fake silliness of Yoda there, how that fits in universe versus the breaking of the fourth wall in Last Jedi. After seeing Rise of Skywalker, though, I do want to give Last Jedi some points that I feel overall Last Jedi, like, I don't really like a lot of people know I'm like critical of the sequel trilogy, but I'm not like an overzealous hater. Like, I like to be like grounded in my critiques. I have a lot of friends that love the sequel trilogy. I have a lot of friends that love The Last Jedi. And Last Jedi, I felt overall it was attempting something more. Like, it was actually attempting some themes that actually were a bit interesting, but just like the slapstick humor takes away from a lot of the execution. But Skywalker, I watched it once, and so far it's my lowest viewed Star Wars film. I saw it once. It was just an assault to the senses, as they would say. It was just so much coming at you. It was just like the lights, the sound, and like it was too. Yeah, I saw a review that called it an assault to the senses, and it kind of felt like it was just like hitting you over the head with like so much Star Wars glamour, that to me a lot of Star Wars comes in that kind of like the quieter moments, the moments where it's more stripped down. And I was talking about reading books, and now when I was a kid I used to love action parts. Like, I would soak that in. I would love action parts. Same thing with comic books. I would love action. But now as a young adult, when I read books or read a comic, I'm skipping through the action. Like, I hear you. I just want to get to the character development and the plot, and maybe
Yes.
describe the location. Like that to
Yes.
me, as a mature audience, is what really
Right.
resonates with me. So all the flash, all the sabers, the X-wings, it doesn't mean as much to me as the moments and the lessons that come in,
Right.
especially George Lucas' Star Wars.
I hear you. You know, funny thing is, I'm doing that. I'm going back reading old X-Men books, and I'm doing the same thing. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
so let's skip to the real dialogue here. But to your point on the Last Jedi, and again, I hear you, man. There's obviously something there, and it's in my little speech about tone isn't necessarily that you need to like this movie just because the tone is there, or dislike this movie because it's not there, but it's just kind of a matter of fact thing. But here's my, this is what I've, and not to go, because we're almost 3 years in. We're not going to nitpick The Last Jedi much anymore. But we talked about it. I mean, there's elements in there that would have done well in a standalone film, or maybe in a TV show that just shouldn't have been in the middle of a. But the biggest issue for me, still, besides the tone, because yeah, I think you're right. If we take the tone out, it could have flowed a lot better. But the biggest issue for me, and it still connects to basically the death of Luke Skywalker, and that's Finn going to sacrifice himself on Crate, and Rose, you know, stopping him and coming out and saying, like, the line, the line again, it's we don't stand up and fight against the ones we hate. We stand up to help the ones we love. I'm like, first off, that line means it was stupid. It was like, whoever wrote that line doesn't know how to, like, you know, be philosophical whatsoever. And secondly, if you would have let Finn do that, Luke Skywalker would still be alive. And so that's where ultimately 3 years in, when I look at all of it, it was that one moment ultimately that I feel failed that film.
That's great, especially for Finn's character, And I honestly, that kiss, it's like one of those slapstick humor moments that it takes you to the moment, because they're kissing, and then the laser fires, hits the base, but nothing really happens other than the doors blowing up. And to me, I really, it was really disappointing how Finn had such potential as a character, and he's relegated, especially in Rise of Skywalker, to a background role where him and Rey are the co-stars.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you feel the way JJ handled Finn, but even, you know, we can include Rose in on this. Do you think the way he handled them was kind of because he was almost in a catch-22 situation, where at that point he had no wiggle room on where to really take it from what Rian Johnson did with them in the previous film?
All right, honest answer.
Yeah. So
absolutely. Honest answer, I genuinely feel, and I'd like to do a deeper dive on this on my channel. I think it's definitely worthwhile now that the whole sequel era has ended. I feel Disney was too afraid to feature people of diverse ethnicities in prominent roles, like legit being like really like they saw backlash from a portion of the audience and was too afraid in Rise of Skywalker to like make Rose have a role, make Finn. I mean, like, look, people can say they don't like Rose's character, which is fair. I think that's actually fair. There are people that talk about things that are totally unrelated. That's not cool at all. But there are actual critiques. Like, I have critiques of Rose as a character. She's almost a caricature of how they view somebody who's a radical, right? And like someone who's radical who's not enlightened. And I think that's a critique I would have loved to make, but she was getting so much harassment at the time. I felt bad critiquing the character, to be honest. So Rose, there are good critiques to have, but I mean, come on, with Finn, he was clearly the co-star with Rey, Finn and Rey. There were even allusions Finn was going to be a Jedi, and I thought, how powerful would it have been, especially in this time, to have, you know, Finn and Rey both be Jedi, team up together, defeat Kylo Ren. Like, that would have been, especially right before 2020, what a powerful message that would have been. And hey, if they, you know, maybe they're romantic, maybe they're not, but if they had a kid, that could be the dude in the next trilogy. Would have been great.
Yeah, good point.
Like a diverse fandom, all that stuff, right? And I think they wimped out, to be honest. And in the same way, JJ promised a same-sex kiss, right? A same-sex couple. So everybody thought that means a prominent characters, right? You know what I mean? That like the main characters, not background characters. And they did some background characters who many people blinked and missed it when they went to get popcorn, right? So I do think Disney is a little bit afraid of more prejudiced elements of their audience, and it's unfortunate because Star Wars is really against all that prejudice, right? But
right.
And that's my honest answer about it. I don't think
No,
a lot
hey,
of
man.
the character
Yeah,
with the outside factors.
I'm so glad. You know, to be honest, I never even really thought of it like that. So I appreciate you, and always be honest. I want everyone to always be honest with me with these things, but I never really looked at it like that, and it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense for Finn even too. Even though, like you said, he was supposed to be this main character. What I did like though about Rose, in The Rise of Skywalker, even though she was barely even there, but I liked that she was serious, and it showed me that, like, Ryan, like, dude, you didn't need to make her, like you said, a caricature. You could have had this woman be like somebody that was truly had depth, that was out to fight something that she that meant something close to her because she just lost her sister and things like that. So that's one thing that I'm kind of like, and like you said, you know, it's rightfully so that we can critique her character, but you're right, because there was so much nasty, hateful critique.
And I want to give points too that I'm not just speaking about America, right? With regards to like anti-black racism, like the Chinese poster, there's exact evidence that they shrunk John Boyega on the poster.
Like
there was you know, like it's not like just American audiences that they're keeping in mind, and it's to me it's really disappointing that they let those like factors, you know, impact them. But you know, I was anyway, we can move to the next topic. I feel like I've fleshed out.
No, that's good stuff, and you really brought perspective to me. So I mean, wrapping up
you've done
on the
great
whole
work, man, like, talking about Miles Morales and like characters that are really clicking with people. And I think everything you said about Miles Morales, that's the key for Star Wars characters. For representation, don't just give people who look like people, give people who have substance, because that's what resonates with people. And the Star Wars Dark Horse comics, actually in the 2000s, I was talking to a friend about this, had really amazing characters, like who all sorts of different looks and whatnot. And these were characters. They weren't just, you know, quote unquote tokens. They were like real people. And I think that's something Disney Star Wars could work a little bit more too. Like, I find the argument about representation, it's a little bit one way. It's like, oh, either no representation, or if there is, it's good, where there's a total discussion about if there is representation, is it also positive? And I know we talked about that before and stuff.
You know, and I think you make a valid point, and I do feel that we're headed in the right direction. Like I did talk about the pros and cons about the Marvel's new Warrior team, that, you know, there was a lot of backlash out because I think it was like, oh, we're kind of doing this as a slap in the face for diversity to those that are anti-diversity. So we're going to do this to slap you in the face with it, instead of saying like, look, you know, let's provide representation, but let's also do it from a place that is genuine, where you provide depth to these characters, and also let's allow the creators of these characters to be proper representation as well. Let's get more women or minority, you know, Black, Latino, Asian creators, you know, writers and artists behind the scenes, or LGBT or whatever it may be, that are actually creating these characters, so they're not just a caricature of some middle-aged male that has never experienced what it's like for the people in real life that can relate to these types.
That's the whole thing too about creating the art, and because when it's coming from a corporate boardroom, they have to guess, oh, we have a character who will have these attributes and it might connect with an audience. Or when you have an actual artist who's creating a character, you know, you could say in their image, and in one's image does not necessarily mean they have to look identical to you, but like have parts of your spirit in them. And I think that's why individual authors and creators, it's much easier to get unique perspectives, because you just hear their story and stuff.
Right.
Like, and yeah, I think from the corporate perspective, it can be a bit harder for them to actually,
Yeah.
do it in a genuine way. And like you said, it just involves having people who are, genuine creatives who can bring those actual life experiences to stories
Right.
and stuff.
This is a good point to flip to this next piece here that I wanted to get to. And could you talk about all these levels of decision making? Really, and you were talking about what Disney, Star Wars under Disney needs to do, and we look at Jon Favreau, who I think it's almost inevitable that he's just going to be really taking more and more control here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my question that I really wanted to get to you today, that I think you probably better than almost at least anyone I know can really answer this genuinely and with actual factual depth to. And that question is, where do you see the state of Star Wars cinema, specifically
Okay.
movie? And when I say cinema, I mean both
well.
Disney Plus,
right,
and as well as theatrical releases. But yeah, that not necessarily comic books or animated series,
right.
but specifically those live action series and films that we're going to see over the next 10 years.
Yeah. So definitely, I honestly think if that's, I think television has incredible potential, and I've always felt this. Like back when, in 2010, George Lucas was working on a live action Star Wars. It was called Star Wars Underworld, I think it was. And actually, about 7 months ago, they actually dropped some like raw footage that was filmed. It never came to fruition.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, and we reacted to it on Council in Exile, and it looked amazing.
Yep.
And so I always had dreamt of something like this. And they'd kind of been sticking to animated mostly for the last 10 years or more, since basically animated has been the only Star Wars shows. But when I heard Disney was making a new show after Filoni's Clone Wars wrapped up, I was pretty stoked that they could be doing some live action. And they did the Star Wars Rebels show instead, and we had to wait a few more years before live action.
Oh, right.
I think TV would have actually been an incredible place for Disney to start, because it's less pressure than a film.
Right.
Like people have had put less pressure on Mandalorian, and it's been pretty good, and it's really clicked with audiences. I think, had they started with Mandalorian in 2013 or 14, I think we'd be having a very different discussion about Star Wars than we are today. Now things are kind of on the upswing because people like Mandalorian. Also because Jedi Fallen Order, really surprised a lot of people in terms of a video game, because on the gaming side, Star Wars, they'd only done 2 Battlefront games that had a lot of sketchy cash grab stuff thrown in there that soured people. So you coming off gaming, where that's the reaction, right? People are just really soured by it. They did put a lot of effort into the 2017 Battlefront 2 to update it and stuff. But then on the film side, you have the sequels where it felt very patchwork, like JJ and Ryan, as we've mentioned, obviously, didn't really sync up well, and you had issues there. So people are pretty pessimistic overall about Star Wars. But then last year, Mandalorian comes out. They're kind of doing what I always thought they should have been doing. And they're also building on the really good elements in the standalone films that they dropped. And I do hope they return to standalone films, because I think they wrote out that idea too soon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And there's so much depth to this. And I think what I think is sad right now is that, especially Solo, I've always loved Rogue One, but I just think Solo really gets such the short end of the stick, only because of The Last Jedi. Like, if The Last Jedi didn't come out, or Solo came out before Last Jedi, I think the praise of that movie would have done so much, right? I mean, I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I mean, honestly, it could have even... maybe I'm being hyperbolic here, but I mean, Mandalorian is good. I don't think it's the most incredible thing ever. It has a lot of potential to go to that place, but it started off really good. It's a really good, solid B+, A-. But Solo actually could have been that. Could have been received almost as well as Mandalorian did, had they dropped it holiday season 2018 instead of
Right.
5 months after The Last Jedi. And also, too, people I know in real life who you could say are more normies or who don't keep up with Star Wars even in a really casual sense didn't know there was a Star Wars film coming out. They were just like, whoa, there's a Star Wars film coming out? So I think you're totally right. And I was really disappointed with the whole boycott Solo people because of the fact they weren't being critical about the state of future Star Wars at that time. If you're unhappy with them doing episodic trilogies and you feel that's not the way, then why boycott a standalone film? Maybe standalone is actually the way that might work better. So why not give that a chance, then decide first? And if you didn't like that, then you don't have to see the next standalone. But I thought Rogue One at the time had a lot of positives. I know some people say it's boring. One of my buddies calls it Bore One, which, you know, increased repeats kind of makes it hard to watch because you know it so well. But Solo, it really has a lot going for it. I understand there's like a couple points here or there. Like there's a handful of points that I think knocked it down a letter grade. Obviously, for me, Darth Maul showing up at the end confused the heck out of cinematic audiences.
Right. Yep.
I talked with Jeff about this. Jeff came on my stream about a month ago, and we talked all about the standalone films because all three of us kind of have positive views of the standalone films and what they've kind of set the precedent for Disney Plus. So I think a lot of the energy of those standalone films and what, like, the attention to detail was so good. People don't really give the standalone films credit for this. Jeff and I were talking about the yacht of Dryden Voss, where Han reconnects with Kira in that movie, and all the relics in Dryden's office. Like you have stuff from like the Infinite Empire, the Rakatans. You had like Mandalorian armor. You had like some of the Crystal Skull stuff. Like all this stuff that was all referencing Legends material. It was incredible. And if you're a hardcore fan, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa! This is all here. And Mandalorian is doing that. Like I talked to Jeff about this. And I said, there are moments in The Mandalorian where they cite seemingly inconsequential things, and I freak out with joy. I'm just like, yes, yes. And I think even though hardcore fans notice this, casual fans and just casual viewers notice it too. I mean, they don't notice it, but they feel it. They feel this control. They feel there's this continuity. And this is why people loved expanded universe content of Star Wars. The connectivity of it. So when you go see a movie and you hear Mace Windu saying that Quinlan Voss is off to Boss Pity, you just like think of that comic book that you read. And like, it's like when you have the connectivity, and you feel like you're in a larger world, even if you haven't even read all the other content. It has that feel because it's there.
Definitely, man. So ultimately what I'm taking from this is you seem very optimistic about the future. And it seems like you feel that, in terms of the cinematic releases, you think that they should stray away from more of the trilogies and stick with the standalone films. But do you feel like that is something that's going to happen? Or do you feel like they're still going to try to, balance the two?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So there's 3 points I want to address there. One, I want to say I do genuinely feel currently the vote of confidence of the fans are with live action television and animated too. People have a lot of adoration for the animation, and I'm looking forward to the Bad Batch Clone 99 show. I always have, even though I have issues with stuff that they do with the Jedi in TCW and in the portrayal of the war overall, I do really like what they did with the clones, with the exception of the inhibitor chips. But I love like when they focused on individual clone squads. I always thought Domino Squad should have got more attention. They were some of the best episodes of that show. Obviously, that show was a variety show. You had Ahsoka, you had the clones, you had some Obi-Wan. Like, you had a whole mix of Darth Maul. You had a whole mix of stuff. But having a show about those clones, I'm really excited. I'd love to watch it. And so, yeah, animated and live action both have a lot of love. And I think because that's where the positivity is coming from Star Wars, I think their best move is to focus on that right now.
Right.
And then maybe build films off of certain TV show projects that they're doing. I think that's the most intelligent way. I actually think Rogue One could have been a really interesting season finale to the Cassian Andor show. Like, drop that show first, develop it, because one critique of Rogue One is you have such amazing talent in the actors you didn't get to see a lot. And cool as it was to see Darth Vader in action, it did take away time from the main cast. So yeah, I think TV is definitely going to spearhead Star Wars, and I think films could come based off the successes of different storylines they have there. I do think there's an upswing in gaming right now too, and a lot of my friends who are bigger gamers than I can attest to that more. I will say though, books and comics, 'cause I know we got a lot of comic people in this stream, they're really weak right now. And I really love books and comics. It's really hurting, especially comic books, because Star Wars comics, I would say, are my favorite medium outside of films, even more so than video games. And I would say animation, but there hasn't been a ton of animated shows to stack up to compare. So, but it's unfortunate because the comics, they really feel like just straight to the recycling bin type stuff. Like, I'm going to be real. Most of the new canon comics I have given away to other people that I've got, because they just, and I did get Dr. Aphra, and I was really disappointed because people said it was a unique character, and I was looking forward to a story of a unique character, and then she's just chilling in the Falcon with Luke and Han and Leia and Chewie.
Yeah.
I wanted its own story because Star Wars used to excel at that. Like Ross, Zane, Karak, Naomi Sunrider, like, you know, people don't know the names of standalone comic book characters like they used to. Dark Horse excelled at that. And it was very interesting was I was talking to Jeff about this, and he actually didn't know about the Dark Horse era very much. And I'm, as a question to you as a comic guy, how well known is the Dark Horse era? Because I feel like with Star Wars Expanded Universe fans, that's like the definitive like Star Wars.
You know, that's a good point too, because I think you're right. I think it's interesting how in how we said this when we first came on, that there's obviously interlap between a lot of, you know, comic book collectors that are also Star Wars fans. I mean, this is all in the same geekdom genre, right? But still, though, there is such a lack of depth there from a lot of comic book collectors, because, and I don't know, I can't speak for everyone. I can't speak, but I do feel that Star Wars comic books, and you could say the same thing about Star Trek comic books. I think Star Wars comic books and Star Trek comic books are vastly overlooked, especially probably during the Dark Horse era, because you have the Marvel original Star Wars run. That's probably obviously the most popular run out of any of it. So it's really interesting that, now that I am consciously thinking about it, you would think that there would be more talk and knowledge of those books, and there really isn't. And to your point too, I mean, I was happy when Marvel got Star Wars back, and I was reading the first volume from when it came back, and then I read a little bit of the Darth Vader. I was enjoying it. Okay. But then I was reading they just flipped it again. They re-volumed it. It started it at #1 again, and they went back to, where is it, like right after, it takes place right after Empire Strikes Back, and I'm just like, it's so bland, and it's like, okay, cool. Like
most people I know and who like Star Wars Expanded Universe material, there isn't a ton of interest in that kind of era you just described. Like, a lot of the interest is in post Return of the Jedi, farther in the future in Legacy, or like Knights of the Old Republic, like way old school. Clone Wars multimedia project, like that's kind of like the interest isn't really in those Empire to Jedi. Like, people aren't really into that. And what's interesting, I find the classic Marvel run, it has a whimsicalness to it that I think a lot of people appreciate, but people kind of view it as like second, like in the old canon system, they used to have a tiering of what was canon. So you'd have like the films as the highest level, then books and certain books and comics, and then video games were considered secondary because the cutscenes were canon, but the gameplay obviously wasn't. And then you'd have like not canon, which was like alternate like ending type stuff. And the Marvel comics, almost people kind of just relegate to being like a lower tier of canon, because it's like kind of like, did Luke and Han and Leia really have all this time to do all this stuff? It's more like Looney Tunes type. Whereas the Dark Horse comics, I feel people always took really seriously, because those are like real stories. And while the old Marvel ones are cute, they have whimsy. Dark Horse are actual stories that you're going to get morals and messages and lessons that you would in the actual Star Wars films.
I agree 100%, man. Hey, so we gotta start wrapping it up here. But before I let you go, I want you. I was gonna ask you the last question, but I want you to actually answer this question. Flicks and Comics JoJo is in the chat, and she asks, "Are the comics still canon?" So can you just take a couple minutes here to answer that question, kind of in speaking to, and I don't know how much JoJo here is really into comics, so I'm not trying to assume how much she knows or doesn't know, but say for casual comic book collectors, right, that are not too deep into Star Wars, how would you answer that question? Are the comics still canon? How would you answer that question for them to where they can kind of get a clear understanding?
All right, so just quickly, if she wants to comment again in chat, when she means the comics, does she mean like the old comics I was talking about, like Dark Horse and the classic Marvel run, or does she mean the current comics that are new?
Well, yeah, let's and like kind of without stating too much depth, talk about each, the original Marvel run, Dark Horse, and then where we're at now with Marvel.
All right, cool. That sounds good. So, I'll speak to the. Yeah, actually, I'll do the old stuff first. So, one thing I want to say for Star Wars people too, I think I could see in 10 years potentially a Star Wars multiverse where the whole way we view canon might be different.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be that way. My friends and I, we've talked about this. I know at the start of this podcast, I talked about the whole dual canon community of people that just Star Wars fans who want to have a chill environment, because the whole canonicity debate was very toxic. Like, it's very toxic on all sides of things of like, is it canon, is it not canon? So sometimes the canonicity can get in the way of actually debating the quality of story, which is what I want to talk about. Like, I care about the quality of stuff. But I'll speak specifically to the canonicity for this. So all previous comics before 2014 are considered Star Wars legends. So legends refers to mostly the expanded universe material, but there's also stuff called Star Wars Infinities, which was basically just alternate timelines that was alternate to the expanded universe as well. It was. And
now let me pause you right there. Now, is this from the Dark Horse era? Both of these things exist from the Dark Horse comics?
So the whole decanonization applied to all comics before 2014. So that's Dark Horse and classic Marvel run.
Right.
So this leaves us with the current Marvel run from like 2014, 2015 onwards, which is in the new canon. And all of those are canon, and they are actually the same level of canon to the films. That's actually how the new canon it works, that everything is canon. And this even includes video gameplay that people do, and people play games differently. I know that sounds crazy. They don't have as sophisticated of a canon tiering system right now. Like, literally, their TV shows and their films are on the same level, where previously in the old stuff, the 6 films were the top canon, and then other stuff came after. So
clarification here. So when Marvel took it back, and they basically, you're saying everything that was canon before doesn't matter because what we're doing now is canon.
Basically, they were erasing like as a whole, Star Wars kept the 6 George Lucas films, obviously, and they also kept the cartoons Filoni was working on because they wanted an in-house animation department. That's really important for people to understand. Like, a lot of people don't get the business side of things.
Yeah, it's all business, right?
Obviously, like, if Filoni's crew is coming on, if you erase what they did, they're going to be salty, and you want them to be motivated. So from the business perspective, and plus they want to build and do their Rebels show, which was like a sequel to a lot of Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah.
So they kept that on. I personally would have preferred them to just keep the 6 films. If they're going all out, go fully all out, just keep the 6 films and nothing else, or bring everything and develop that. That's kind of, I think it's got to be all or nothing in that case. Well, not all. You can actually, I wouldn't mind them trimmed out a few more cringy parts here or there, that existed. Some of it was Filoni stuff. A fair amount was actually, but yeah. So it's crazy right now. The canon system actually doesn't have a tiering system. So everything that's canon is canon, and currently there's no way to resolve contradictions. I think rule of thumb, people generally still view the films as the most canon, which kind of makes the most sense to still do. I think a lot of the old canon tiering system still applies. Like when people think, okay, films first, then TV, then books and comics, I think people still think like that in their minds, even if that's not what the paradigm is anymore.
Just hearing you talk about it, it's almost like trying to freaking do a Rubik's Cube, man. It's making my head hurt, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the whole multiverse thing, because I know people who have kept track of contradictions in the new stuff, and it's really like it's quite a burden for a lot of the new content creators who are doing like books and comics, which is I think why their next multimedia project is going to be 200 years before Phantom, because they're just going to jump away from stuff around the original trilogy because they've done so much content in the last 5 years just around the original trilogy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I would take from it, for say, you know, you never really read Star Wars comics before. I think it's probably would be an easy starting point to start with the new Marvel comics. And it wouldn't be too difficult to follow. But I think if you want real depth and you want to really understand the vast core of what the Star Wars universe is, and you know how fleshed out it can really be, I would definitely probably go back and at least start somewhere with some of this Dark Horse stuff. And I personally, because I haven't like, I've read some of the Dark Horse stuff, and it's not like I have to go all the way back to the beginning. It's like you can read certain runs, right? Or like, that can just kind of give you context on what's happening in the universe. And you don't have to read it all in a specific order.
It's kind of like what I was saying about in The Mandalorian, when they reference stuff from other lore. You don't need to know all that lore to feel like you're in the stream of Star Wars. Like you can jump in at different points and feel comfortable. Well, somebody did ask in the chat about repressing of Dark Horse, because that is true. Marvel actually is reprinting all the Dark Horse
Legends
Epic Collection. Which is great for me, because when you're a kid, you have your allowance and you maybe can only get like one book a week or something like that, and so you have to prioritize. You can't just get every run. You have to pick your run. So now I can go and pick up all these runs that I missed. Like I was collecting Knights of the Old Republic, but Legacy was happening in tandem to that, and I missed out on Legacy. So
they're reprinting single issues.
They're doing it via era. So they are mixing some runs. So they'll have a Old Republic era. And
is that in a trade paperback form though? Or
it's trade paperback.
Right. That's the Marvel Legends, right? Is it the Marvel Legends reprint? Gotcha.
Called, Marvel Legends Epic Collections, and they often go on sale. I found like a bunch on sale earlier.
Yeah, I saw that link you sent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
you know what I've been doing too, where I read the whole Mara Jane saga, and is go to, and I don't know right now if depending where you're at, if like my libraries are still closed in my area, but go to a library. That's what I did. I would check out like a stack of them, and in not just Star Wars stuff, but other comic book stuff, and check them out. Yeah, I think most libraries you can keep them for 2 to 3 weeks, and then if you want to renew it, you can just renew it and keep it for another 2 to 3 weeks until you're done reading it, and you don't spend a dime. So.
I wanted to address one question in chat. I saw, I think Sequential Geek said it's like complexity like this that might make some fans go, "Oh no, thanks." Like
true,
how the canon works. And to Chris's point is that like a lot of the Dark Horse you can just hop in, pick a run. Like, and these works, one thing that does differentiate them from the current Marvel run is they are art. I'm not saying the new stuff isn't art, but they are really works of art that you don't even need to like Star Wars to read this stuff. Like you can have not seen the films and read some of this as a book, and maybe just kind of generally know what a Jedi or the Force is, and you're good. Right. And I think kind of bringing it back to your question you had about binge watching all the Star Wars films is that for me, for Star Wars, it's not so much a Star Wars aesthetic or even a tone. but there is a feel to it, and stuff doesn't even need to. The technology does not even need to look the same. Obviously, JJ was going hard to emulate the OT, but the prequels and the OT both have their distinct footprints.
Right.
There is connection, quite obviously. Like the clones and the stormtroopers is a great example of that. There is connection, but the technology looks different, but it feels like Star Wars.
Right.
And Knights of the Old Republic, when I was a kid, when I played the games and read the comics, the technology looks totally different there, but there's still this core of Star Wars, this feel of it. And I think that's what matters most in the stuff, in the content. And I think if, like what you're saying about TV, if they can continue that, and while I am optimistic, I kind of tend to be a more optimistic person. They do have a lot to prove to people too. Don't get me wrong. Mandalorian was good, but they have a lot to prove. And I do think Favreau could be the next George Lucas. And I don't want to go into that because that would take a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think a lot of us fans here of like comics, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, DC has a lot to prove right now. I think we're in a very good point in time that we could be optimistic about a lot of things, and I think Star Wars is one of them. B-Level, you had a screen you wanted me to show. Before we wrap up here, I want to show that. Can you bring that back up?
Oh, absolutely,
I can show that on screen.
And this goes to your binge watch too of Star Wars, because I got to share it.
Yeah. So guys, so this is the Council of the Exile podcast. Now, this is a separate. This is the link, right, that I left in the comments. I'll put in here because this is not your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I do upload a lot of these to my channel, but it has its own channel where you can get the playlist. And as you can see, we got some Assassin's Creed up there, and we're actually branching out to do half Star Wars, half other stuff. And like what Sequential Geek says in the comments, this is a good place to catch up on some stuff.
Awesome. And it's a Council in Exile YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, next time you binge watch, I actually shouted you out in this podcast we just did, because you told me how you binge watch all the Star Wars, and you watched the 2008 Clone Wars little featurette of those 4 episodes.
Oh, yep.
Next time you got to do classic Clone Wars, man.
Well, I actually, right now, I am in the middle of season 3. I have been, like, when I wrap up my days and I go in my room and I'll work on, like, art, or I work on, like, post-production for YouTube, I'll just sit there with Clone Wars on. And I'm on season 3. I really enjoyed season 2. I thought it brought a much deeper kind of depth from season 1. And I've heard from people that it's going to continue to get even more deep. So I'm excited.
Gendy Tartakovsky 2003 to 05 micro series. It's 2 hours. It's only 2 hours altogether, the entire thing. Watch it between episode 2 and 3, man. It's magical.
Is this on Disney Plus?
We actually we addressed it today. It's not on Disney Plus, and we're like, it would be great if it was. Slap the Legends banner on it.
Can you email me that information?
Absolutely.
I want to just the name, and then I can like Google it or try to find it somewhere. But
the basis of the newer Clone Wars, like it kind of was the basis, but then they kind of basically this and the new Clone Wars are like alternate timelines. And before Disney bought, they never really sorted out the alt timeline thing, but it's kind of like reading some EU books versus watching the sequel trilogy. It's going to give you a different take on the Clone Wars, and I guarantee you're going to love it. Anyone who's curious about this, it has fallen out of the discourse because it's not on D+. They didn't repress the DVDs, unfortunately, or even make a Blu-ray. But it is episode 2.5, man. You need it for your binge watch. I call it the prequel quadrilogy.
Yeah. All right, B-Level, man. Hey, I really, really appreciate you coming on today and taking the time. And guys, so we got, like I said, B-Level's YouTube link is below, Instagram, and then check out the other link that I put in the comment to the Council in Exile. So B-Level, man, hey, look, I appreciate you as a human being. The fact that you are just filled with Star Wars knowledge just adds to it. So again, man, and fellow Canadian, right? not me. Not that I'm fellow. I'm giving shout outs to all my Canadians today. Because So
shout out to Nova Scotia. I have a lot of family.
yeah, right. So
yeah, and also shout out to independent comic creators, everybody. We gotta
yes.
support indie comics.
Yeah, right on, man.
Because that's what Star Wars was before Disney bought it. Like
Yep.
it was like a collective house of independent artists helmed by George Lucas. So support if you want the spirit of Star Wars. Like if you're, I gave optimism for the TV and potential films, but if you want the books and comics, support indie artists, especially if you love the EU. Find out what EU authors are doing now because they're working on stuff too, and they need that love. Yeah. Thanks so much for the love, Jerno. Happy
right on, man. Be level. Yeah, let's be in touch. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate it.
All right, great talk, man. As always.
Take care, man. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. Man, we still got a lot of folks sticking around. I appreciate it. So show went on a little longer, but that's okay because we were supposed to have one more guest. But unfortunately, they were not able to make it. I'm still gonna give a shout out here, real quick, and then I'll get in if anybody has any questions. But I want to share with you guys just a little something on screen. And that is the boy who had 7. That's just his logo here. I wanted to put a visual up. The boy who had 7. I wanted him to join us today. And for those that don't know, the boy who had 7, he's got an awesome channel, and he does a collaboration show with John Collects, and it's called Comic Gories. I wanted to have them on today and do a little Comic Gories skit show, but the boy who had 7 is in the middle of moving. He did not have internet connection. So unfortunately, he couldn't make it today. But guys, I am going to do a live stream in the near future to bring Matt with the boy at 7 and John on, and to do a little quick taste of their Comic Gories show. But right now, even though that's not happening, I still want you guys to go check out the boy who had 7's channel. Go check out John. I think it's called John Talks Comics. I think that's the official YouTube name for him. So, like I said, yeah, go check them out. I really appreciate them wanting to be here today, but unfortunately, they didn't make it. So, yeah, guys, I'll spend a few more minutes here. If you guys have any questions, Star Wars guy, what's going on, man? Yeah, actually, my birthday was 2 weeks ago, and I was gonna have this 2 weeks ago, but I ended up doing a fundraiser live stream for a family that lost like everything to a fire. So. I decided that was more important at that time. This could wait, but still, it was good to celebrate. Big shout out to everyone that came on today. Jeff Bell with Comic Book Canon, Newbie Comics, Jeff and Derek with Grandway Comics, B Level. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, will you be considering doing an episode on how to press square? You know what? Look, Mega Road, yeah. Yes. So I actually just got a new press, and I still haven't made a video on that. Honestly, I have a lot of cons with this new press. I'm still testing the waters with it. I'm still trying things out, but I'm kind of like annoyed, literally annoyed with it. So I'm gonna do kind of like a review video for that, and then we'll get into some more press and stuff. I just want to say there's a lot of content that I'm always looking to push, and it's like there's never enough time. You know, it takes. For those that don't do YouTube content, like it takes a lot of work, and especially with a lot of stuff that I do. You know, it's like, you know, if it's just coming on here doing an unboxing, that doesn't take much work, but I still got to create thumbnails and upload and do all those things. But when I do videos like discussing real deep topics, and deep meaning like where you have to have data, whether it's like top 10 Bronze Age comics to invest in. You know, it takes a lot of gathering all that information, sales data, numbers, pictures, and putting that all into a video. Or if I'm talking about something that I need to have data and facts to back up, I have to do studying and note taking. It's like a topic in a college course, and you have to write a thesis statement on it. You have to do your research. So I'm doing research, and I'm doing all that for a lot of these videos that I do. and it is a lot of work. So you guys may see me for 10, 20, 30 minutes a day on a video, times that by like at least 5 in terms of the amount of minutes and hours that I'm putting into every video. So it's really hard to keep up with everything that I want to do. But I keep trying to pump them out for sure. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, Star Wars guy. Yeah, it was a family in the community that I didn't know them. I just I heard about them through a Facebook forum, and they didn't get hurt. They lost their pets, unfortunately. The family was okay. The 2 daughters were okay, but they were big collectors, family of collectors, and they lost like everything. Their house burnt down, and they lost their comics and toys. And so I did a fundraiser and got some community involvement for them. Really good people. So I'm glad that we were able to help out. Kid Collector, about the Black Panther variant. I mean, okay, so this is kind of a sketch variant. I do have the variant where it's actually full color to them. So this is the black and white, and then there is a full color variant as well. And I have both of those. Let's see. Isaac is pushing for me to get some more Golden Age books, man. Yeah. I hear you, Isaac, but you know, Golden Age books are expensive, and that's it's tough for me. But it's in my heart. It's definitely in my heart. All right. How are the kids are doing? Okay. You know, I asked my oldest if he wanted to watch Black Panther with me last night, and he was just like, I can't do it. You know, my oldest, he, like I said, he doesn't like. He has an interesting way of dealing with emotions. My youngest, though, I actually ended up watching Marshall last night. You know, with Chadwick playing Thurgood Marshall, and my youngest came in there. I was getting into bed, and he came in there, and he was like, "Oh, like you know," and it just, and then I ended up tucking him into bed. I just don't think it was just like a gut punch to them, you know. And but hey, I mean, yeah, they're doing okay though. So I appreciate you asking, and you know, it's going to be crazy how we play these next few weeks out, and I'm going to keep my ear out for anything, any kind of memorials or tributes for Chadwick for sure. Is the variant on the market? Yeah, you know what? Check eBay. Check eBay for sure. Check mycomicshop.com. I got those when they first came out in my previews orders. So, yeah. Oh, no worries, Star Wars guy. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by for any amount of time, and I appreciate it. So. Ooh, well, I'm pretty exhausted, man. That was a good show, and I'm gonna go relax probably for the rest of the day, hang out with my kids, and cook some dinner. So once again, guys, for all you that are still hanging out, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you again to all the guests. If you haven't yet, go get that information below. Click their links and subscribe and support. My final thoughts for today, and yeah, I'm gonna drink some water before I go into some final thoughts. That's good. Water, guys, water. I don't drink anything but water, really. I don't drink dairy. I don't drink juice. I will have soda maybe once every 2 months, like maybe like if I have hamburgers or pizza for dinner, and I don't eat a lot of pizza these days either, but I might have soda once in a while. I don't drink juice. I will drink. I make fruit and vegetable smoothies in the morning, and I'll add a little bit of almond milk or soy milk, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm drinking water, man. Stay healthy, man, guys. And you know, I don't want to speculate, but you know, we know Chadwick was dealing with colon cancer, and you never know what cancer, man. And who knew what kind of diet he was on? But I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be one of those health preachers, but I just really want us all to be in good health and do our best to eat good, stay hydrated, man, and mental health as well, physical health, emotional health, all of that matters. But with that being said, collect chaos. With that being said, my final notes for today, guys, are first off, I really appreciate each and every one of you. For some of you, if you weren't here in the beginning of the show, I'm gonna repeat what I said then. When I was sitting in backstage before I went live, and I saw folks already coming in the chat saying, "Hey, what's up, so and so? Oh, glad to see you here." Like, I got kind of emotional, man. And it adds to just the news from yesterday and everything. But I got kind of emotional because it really showed me, like, here I am using this platform to bring people together, and it means a lot to me. And I want you guys to know that it does, and I talked about how on one element, this is, my YouTube is a business to me, and I will never lie about that. But that's just a part of it. The bigger part, and the part that matters the most, is that this is a community. And as much as it helps me be able to have an outlet, I'm sure it helps you guys. And that means the world to me. And I want you all to know that. I really do appreciate all of you. I respect all of you. The only time that I will have a problem with anyone is if they want to be a bully or ugly and hateful. Other than that, I want everyone to come here and voice their opinions and views and differences of opinions and hang out and respect and love each other at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about for me, and that's why I'm here. And what better way to do it than to talk about comics and geek culture and pop culture and all these things. So, old school, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I mean, again, with that being said, as much as I'm sure you guys can appreciate my channel, you guys support my channel, I appreciate you guys so much. I'm nothing without you guys. Otherwise, I'd be talking to myself, looking at myself in the screen. It's like, right? So thank you all for joining today and coming on. Sequential Geek, I appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you guys all. If you weren't here for any part of the live stream, I definitely encourage you to go back, check out each of the guests that we had on today. Go set them up. Double S. Thank you. Again, guys, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, be kind, be love, give kindness and give love. Appreciate your neighbors, appreciate your family, appreciate all that you got, and appreciate this hobby. Appreciate this platform. And just let's keep doing better. And before I go, one last thing, and this is what I'm going to end on. I know I keep saying it's what I'm going to end on, but I'm going to end on this. Is my last piece. I'm going to leave this on screen, and I want this message to resonate with everyone. And my take from this is we got to be better people. We have to keep reaching. We all can do better. I can do better. We got to keep pushing to be better to ourselves and to each other. So with that being said, guys, thank you again. I love and appreciate you all. I'll leave this on screen for a minute, and we'll give one more moment of silence for Chadwick Boseman and his family. Wakanda forever. Until next time, guys.